ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Delta Force Community Tournaments. It's North America's time. I'm Lawler, your host. Is going to be with me. It's going to be the one and only Toffees. We have a lot of things to discuss, but before we do that, Toffees, how was your day? How did things go? Welcome back.
That was nice.
What was your 9 to 5 today? How did you do? What were we getting into?
I slept late because we were up late, and then I was told there'd be 2 inches of snow today, and I think we're up to like 6 at this point. So took my kids sledding and the dog for some fun snow play. So actually a really great day, and now I get to sit down and watch video games. So yeah, no arguments from me. Yours?
That's a great 24 hours, man. That's a great 24 hours. I grounded some Path of XceL and also tuned into the guys a little bit this morning in Europe, which apparently was absolute chaos. So we're looking forward to it. But if you guys don't know what's going on, let's take a look at what's actually going down today. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Delta Community Tournaments, don't worry, you're not alone. These are kind of a first iteration. Yesterday, we had a lot of action that was broken down into 2 different game modes. The first one is Operations, your extraction type gameplay. We're not doing that today. Today, we're going into Warfare, which is honestly my specialty, which is just big team battles, I think, put simplistically, Toffees. A lot of money on the line, a lot of new faces, unfamiliar, that are all trying to compete to make it to that grand final. Today, we've got the semifinals. 4 groups, 6 teams in each group, with the top performers making it out.
That sounds like a lot, but I think once we see it in action, it'll be a little easier for everyone to understand. But so from what I gather, Adam, is you're playing with other teams, but also trying to beat those teams that you are playing with at the same time?
100%. So if you guys have not played Warfare as a game mode, it is going to be 24v24. So 6 teams per group with 4 players per team. That's how we get our 24. We're going to see all of Group A versus all of Group B. All of Group A versus all of Group B again. 1 time on offense, 1 time on defense. If you guys aren't familiar with the game mode, think of it as kind of like a domination type playstyle where you have a zone that you have to go and collect and capture 2 points by standing on them. Once you capture both of those points, zone B opens up. The defense team gets shoved back and they can't respawn. They literally have to retreat, otherwise they get eliminated. And they only have so many lives that they have to defend against. So offense has to make their way and continue to progress, while defense has to hold them off. So we have a round robin going on, and by round robin we mean every team is going to play every other round. They're going to see a bunch of different iterations, but the top performing teams in those groups, because there are 6 teams, will move on into the grand finals. The way those points are accumulated is just operation points. You literally just have to kill, capture objectives, revive teammates, and there's a lot of different strategies about that. We'll showcase those when we get into the actual games and kind of point some of those things out. But primarily, your objective is to capture the points or make sure they don't capture the points. Offense versus defense. Real simple.
So A plays B, C plays D. The top 6 from the combined groups advance to the grand final from each side, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, I guess theoretically, all of your group could go if you guys are really, really good. Or you'd have to sort of split that right down the middle. So someone that you are battling here today could be your teammates in the grand final, theoretically, which I think is actually also pretty interesting to think about. Now, you play this mode, there's a whole bunch of stuff. What are your sort of like, what are you looking for teams to like get those points or really set themselves up to be in the top 6?
There is always going to be like specialists, I think, in game modes like this, where you have people on your team, like we even saw yesterday, where it's like, you're the offense guy, I'm the defense guy. How do we want to allocate those elite tokens to be who's going to be our entry fragger, who's going to be the guy that soaks the damage? You're going to see, I think, some of that as well. Who's the revival person? Who's the one that is, hey, I'm going to go flank and just create an opportunity for you to redeploy on? Those types of things will make a lot more sense when we have visuals to back it. But primarily, the thing I'm looking forward to is who are the people that can really be assertive? Because there is a time limit. You have 25, 30 minutes to really make a push. And for the other team, they get to sit in camp, realistically. They get to hold their points, they get to hold their angles, and it is tough to push through. So should be a lot of fun as we take a look at what our schedule is for today. So groups A and B are going to be starting off first in match 1, where they will both take turns playing on offense, defense. We're going to be starting in the trench lines, which for a lot of people, believe it or not, have a really tough time getting past those first 2 zones. Capturing A1 and A2 has proven difficult. But once you break through that, it kind of opens up and it becomes a little bit more spacious. A couple strategies we'll talk about there, and then we'll go into match 2, 3, and 4, and a chance to see a little bit of every group, which will be nice. Again, the reason why the names and the numbers, letters are switching is that's who's on offense, that's who's on defense.
That makes sense. All right, so interesting. So you better be good at trench lines. Though I guess they'll switch it back around, or is it basically Group A will be offense on both trench lines?
It will swap. So in order for us to be able to showcase every
yeah,
single
but I'm just asking for
right?
that group playing all four. A would basically be attack on trench lines both times.
Yeah, they'll probably do offense, defense, if I had to guess. But again, there's some spreadsheets that are really complicated. I'm just going to focus on what we're watching today for everybody watching and everybody who is joining us, whether you're on the YouTube or the Twitch. We do appreciate you guys tuning in and joining with us. There was a big narrative that we talked about yesterday, Toffees, in regards to kind of the celebration of what has been Delta Force, the ability to be accessible, the challenges that we're providing these higher level players, and the excitement that they've had of just being like, dude, I'm challenged for the first time. I'm trying to think outside the box. I don't know what's really brought into me. So from your perspective overall, obviously we have different game types. We have an accessibility both for someone like yourself who wants to either go into extraction solo, or someone myself who wants to frag out solo. But then when my buddies come on, I can dip my toes into either, and in a way that doesn't feel like I'm holding myself back.
Yeah, I think it's fun that you get to go back and forth. And I think that what we're doing here that's interesting with the community tournaments is we're adding like a new depth to that, right? This idea that in operations, you get to play with your squad. It's a great way to, you know, burn off some gear or whatever. You can play this, you know, our mode tonight if you're playing a little bit solo. But just like last night, you would never get a chance to really go into a place like Space City with purple ammunition versus blue vests, right? Like that's not something that happens. And we got to see that last night, which was fascinating to see the highest level players play with, you know, sort of that middle ground where it was all about gun skill. This is similar, but I think very different because the guns, you know, the gear, it is what it is. It's not going to change very much. However, when you get a chance to have literally, what is it, 6 teams that are working together that all know how to squad, that all know how to fight, and who are all looking to score points on the map at the same time. And that's what I'm interested in, because when I play with the boys and we go in and we have a good time in, you know, attack and defend, we still are surrounded by 27 other idiots, right? Like that we have to sort of deal with. The fact that here you may be surrounded by less idiots, I think could be very exciting for these teams.
Well, let's take a look at those fellow idiots as you've now deemed them. Obviously, we've got our 4 groups, 6 teams in each. These are different. If you guys did end up joining us yesterday, these are different teams through a different qualification process in the semifinals. Again, Group A, while they are competing as a team in this big team battle type-esque play, the reality is that they are trying to be standouts. A cumulative point total across all of the individuals that applies towards revives, that provides towards captures, kills, every type of thing that you can do in this will earn you like objective points overall. Some general strategies, obviously, points are increased when you're on the objective. So if you're going for a capture and you're getting kills, you're going to be worth a little bit more. Hey, if people are using your beacon to respawn, you're getting respawn points on that. If people are redeploying on you. So there's a lot of those types of things that are going to be instrumental, I will say, in separating themselves. But the reality is all points created equal. Helping in any capacity will go a long way. When I've competed in Twitch Rivals a few weeks back, we had players like ourselves, like my team, we were very kill heavy. And we barely revived other people because we knew it was better for us to just go and frag out and get 4 or 5K. Than it was to sit there and revive over and over and over again. So we went like support class heavy so we could all heal ourselves and then just play super aggressive. And that outweighed, you know, a team that was very revive heavy. So there is different strategies to it that if you know what your strengths are, man, lean into it. So Group E is what the competition is going to be here for Group A. Unfortunately, a lot of names that I can't say I'm familiar with. I don't know if anybody stands out for you, Toffees.
It doesn't, but I think what stands out in that is that no one stands out. And I love that because we are new, right? Like this is
just
what...
Kidding. 4 heads are going to win.
4 heads are going to win? What do you see?
If that's the focus, I think it is, it's over.
All right, so they'll do well, but they still have to work with the 5 other teams, you know, other players. But I do think what I like is and yesterday we saw this too, Adam, how many players... Honestly, like when you went to their streams, they had less than 1,000 followers. They were out here grinding the game constantly, trying to build communities. A lot of them not even interested in streaming. Just guys who are like, listen, I work a 9 to 5. I come home, I squad with the lads, and this is my chance to go out, do a community tournament, make some money, and maybe take the next step. And so that, honestly, at this stage of a developing pro scene, seeing names that I don't recognize from other titles or from streaming heavily here is actually kind of exciting because it means there's a whole new roster of people to learn from, to watch, to get to know, because I guarantee you if they do well here, they'll be streaming soon.
Yeah, a lot of names and a lot of chances to make a name for yourself. We talked about that yesterday as well. Is, you know what, for a lot of these people, you're talking, hey, AK on the line. That's a chance to really take this as a full-time thing. I will say the reason why I recognize Focus is there's two different types of players in Twitch Rivals. So there's the ones that are following the guides that are on YouTube and the ones making it. Focus is the one making those guides.
Okay.
So all of us who are like, what's the ideal loadout? What are we Focus is the dude that you watch. So yeah, pretty good. But again, I think in these moments, despite having what is meta and this and that, there's some people that just come and go, hey, you gave me the tools. Now watch how you really frag out. So
yeah,
very excited to see that develop as we get through all of our teams. Again, a lot of competition, a lot of competitors, but primarily I kind of want to focus in here, Toffees, on what is coming up first.
Okay.
I know you're an operations specialist. I know you like to extract and do your thing. How much familiarity do you have with these other maps?
I mean, I've played most of them. Trenches, not as much. Trenches was a special map release. It hasn't been in the rotation very heavily. So that one is something the last week or two I've been trying to find ways to play Trenches or find maps on Trenches. It's just not really there. So this is something that I think the fact that it's being showcased tells me there's some fun things in the future coming down the pipeline, or the trench, if you will. But it's going to be fun, kind of a surprise for me to watch and see how Trenches plays, because other than this afternoon and some old footage, I don't really know Trenches that well, to be honest.
Yeah, map starts out pretty aggressively where you are basically storming Normandy in your own right.
Okay.
With trenches that are going to be heavily played, and the trench fights are really exciting. There is a lot of like there's a lot of kind of like cheeky angles you could take from like a doghouse where it's like you got a ceiling and a roof over your head. There's a tight angle. People have to run through open area, and you've got an easy peak spot. So there's a couple things like that, which is why it's so difficult to push. But some of the strategies inside, like if you use a vehicle and you use that as a respawn point, or if you push wide on the outside and kind of use those trenches to your advantage to go for a big flank, as long as you're patient, which most people aren't, they just want to run and gun in these game modes.
Right.
All of a sudden, you now have a flank. It's a 1v4. All of a sudden, now your full squad deploys on you, and you've got 4 on their back line pushing from a different angle, and it just opens up everything. So, again, head on the swivel is really important in these, but trenches is one that if you can get pushed and push past the initial barrier, the map does open up a little bit more. It's less constricted, and it makes it easier and easier for offense. So, that first capture, we saw a lot of problems with that in Europe this morning. Whether that will continue here in North America, I'm excited to find out. But to my knowledge, just for everybody, there is, I think, 4 or 5 zones, A, B, C, D, and E potentially. I forget if there's an E or not, but each one of them have 2 points you have to capture. And if you don't capture them both at the same time, you don't get to move forward. So it's tough because you're split and push between 2 different areas. It's easier said than done. My curiosity is going to be really what operators people go with, because it changes every time.
That makes sense. I mean, it's one of those, I think your basic concept of attacking and running, Stinger and Toxic is incredibly helpful. I think, obviously Stinger's probably not going to be much on the defense team. From what I understand, you can just release and re-res. There's no damage to you if you're on defense. You don't have to worry about that death tally. So Stinger kind of, I remember my first Warzone, I was on defense and I played Stinger the whole time. And like my team kept being like, what? Like I was so mad because I kept running over to res people and they'd release. And you're just like, every time you're like, dude, why did I run over here? Then I understood the mechanics a little bit better. So I do think we're going to see, obviously, one side with more healing, the other side with more defense. But what I'm excited about is what I've learned from watching the videos and kind of what you guys talked about is there's a lot of like cheeky things, right? Like the respawns for flanks, utilizing, in fact, I didn't even know until a week ago that you could purchase items in the game, which, listen, guys, if you don't play the boot camp scenario, you're not going to know some of this stuff. I know you're probably like me and you're like, let's just get right into it. There are things that we're going to teach you. I think Adam will probably run you through tonight. But like using those correctly is something where I, in my experience, have had a couple of people on the team use them correctly and then a bunch of other people not know what to do with them or even how to counter them, right? Like I won my first squad of the match or whatever it's called today with my guys, and it's because we set up a good respawn location, we ran a flank, and we were able to dominate as one just cohesive unit. Knowing there's guys like Focus who know each and every one of those plays and how to counter them. Exactly. That's what I'm excited about. Is he going to have people out there on the flank going, hey, you make sure they don't park that tank there. We can't have a respawn. And I think that is something that you don't get in normal pubs. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I'm telling you, there's going to be like, this lobby's about to start in a couple minutes. I want you to put a stopwatch like 5-10 minutes, and our spectator's going to hit tab. You're going to see the leaderboard, and he's going to be at the top. I'm telling you, man. Like, there are some of these guys that just know, and I'm excited to see not a bunch of content creators and streamers and casters like myself being the ones competing against you guys, but people who went through a qualification process that are actually good at the game. I will say that buy system that you're alluding to, though, is very snowball heavy.
Yeah.
Because so these like tokens or this money that you earn that you can go into the buy system with is purely based off of how well you perform. So this is what I'm talking about. So when we talk about storming the battlefield, you've got one side, which is defense on A, that's going to have a couple points that they have to hold, and everybody else is going to come through. Right side is kind of tough because there's a big valley and a big canal. Left side, I like a little bit better personally. But again, it's a matter of trying to get up there early and often, and then just kind of set up base camp.
And both have to be caught ultimately, right?
Yeah, I think the difficulty with these ultimately is that everybody wants to go in and push and be hyper aggressive, but if you can just hold your own, get some frags, clear out some people, and then move up, you can't just run and gun, move up, run and gun, and move up. You've got to be pretty patient with these because there's just so many people.
So I see guys coming out going very aggressive. There are definitely defenders that are playing that sort of stab style. Is that something that we should expect to see? Like, is that part of keeping your attackers from progressing, or should everybody be inside of that circle back to each other kind of thing?
No, I think again, divide and conquer is a really good way about it. So like if I'm on B, right, if I'm defending right now, I see this entire left side is being overwhelmed. Like it's not even close. So I already believe that like, hey, A kind of knows what they're up to. But if I'm that person, I'm trying to make sure that I either take a wide angle, because there is like limitations on zones and out of bounds and stuff. But if you can kind of abuse that, I go out of bounds a little bit and use it as a wide flank so I appear on the outside. Like this person's using an assault class right now, so their special ability is to run really, really fast.
Yeah.
Go out of bounds, sprint down the sideline out of bounds, come back in before that 10-second timer. All of a sudden you got a really wide flank, and all those people you can surprise. So there's definitely some cheeky things like you were mentioning that you can get away with, but the downfall of that is if you're not playing on the zone, you're not getting as many points. So you really have to make sure you're being impactful.
So A's already gone, essentially.
Oh,
now they had some trouble in Europe, but when I've watched videos, the first cap here is usually pretty quick, I feel like.
Yeah, it should be realistically, but there is a couple points that if you play it right, you can definitely have like peak advantage on, especially on the outside zone. Like you see where those barricades and stuff are.
Yeah.
There's some people that play it really, really intelligently where they just, they prone in the bushes type thing. But this is something that's going to be a little bit different. Is like, sure, this person should go for the capture realistically, but if I'm playing that, it's like, hey man, I'm going to get my kills up. I'm going to farm some of these tokens. I'm going to make sure that my team respawns. I'm going to hold my position and my angle and just make sure that I'm impactful in that regard.
Right.
Sustainability is everything, man. You got to be able to make sure you apply consistent pressure.
Right. At the end of the day, it's not just about taking it's not just about taking A. You've got to get your points so that you're one of the teams that advances at the end of this thing. And if you have a good spot that's going to get you 6-7 kills, yeah, maybe the points are just better doing that. So interesting to watch. You see players using just special skill after special skill, man.
So that was when there's 24 people on the battlefield on one side. So yeah, it's a little bit chaotic, but again, that's why you kind of got to focus on your team. Even though everybody is working together, the reality is it's like I've got 3 teammates that we've got to be in sync with. And as long as we work cohesively, hey, whatever the call is, whoever your IGL is making that decision, you should be okay. So while it looks pretty detrimental at the beginning, it seems like the push has slowed a little bit.
Yeah, it's that respawn right there at the bottom. Luna dropped for them. Yep. They've been bringing that squad back over and over and over.
So you can see like these points racking up, right? You're talking capture objective plus an extra XP plus bonus points plus this. So by just sitting here and engaging in this fight and maybe saying, you know what, I'm going to let you keep respawning. I'm just going to keep picking off these free kills. You should be okay.
That tree fell down.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool when you see the explosions and stuff that the environment actually interacts with it too.
Man. I'm constantly blown away. Okay, so obviously I enjoy this game. That's why we are doing these events.
Right.
But I'm always blown away with like, this is not I don't want to seem like I'm insulting them because what they do is incredible. It's not a humongous studio. Like these guys are making a labor of love, and the amount of stuff they've gotten into this game, like destructible environments, the different modes, the incredible observers like tools, blows my mind every time that I see a new thing. When I see that tree go down or the helicopter crash yesterday in Op, like it blows my mind because it says they love the game. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's that attention to detail. You know, you heard me go on my soapbox a little bit about how like gamers being critical and this and that are kind of ruining gaming. There's a couple of pretty good videos about that, but a lot of it is the developers just not being in tune with their community and not giving it that labor of love. And this game, again, not a paid actor, like definitely seems to be like, hey, we hear our community. That's why it's important. Again, for anybody watching, I assume most of you play this game, but if you don't, it's free to play on Steam. Go check it out. There's a big update coming. Obviously, they're trying to put out a mobile version soon. There's a new Black Hawk Down game mode coming. A lot of updates and stuff, but join the community on Discord. There's a lot of really good people in there that are just actively trying to make sure you have a good experience, give best tips and tricks, people that you squad up with. Like, it's a pretty dope community, man.
It is. It is. And I like the way the devs communicate. Like, there is an update coming. We got notifications on the pop-ups. We got in-game emails. We got tweets. We got Discord posts. Like, not only are they make sure everyone knows what's going on and what the seasons look like, but also every time it's like, now let us know what you think. And I think that that's been really, really cool. Now, what I think is this cap was over a little while ago, but the counter push has been incredible. Look at the swarms. Swarms on swarms.
Now, what's crazy about that is now that that capture has happened, notice how it says eliminate remaining enemies. So depending on the zone, once the zone is captured, so the reason why the first one is because there is only 1 point, so everybody can kind of hyper focus on one area.
That makes sense.
But if you do not leave, you have 20 seconds to retreat. So everybody is running back. And the cool thing is when you're on offense, it actually will highlight where those players are. You get wall hacks while they're running away. So you know exactly where to go and run and gun and get these guys down to. Now,
because they didn't leave before the timer ran out.
Exactly. And if they don't leave within a certain amount of time, I think it actually just kills you. So you have to be removed. It has to progress the game.
But that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, now that they've pushed up, you're going to expect to see a couple vehicles come in and really manipulate. You see immediately right out of the gate on that back right. Ooh. Hey, my full team, I'm going to buy a vehicle. I'm going to push straight onto B2. That's amazing. Okay. This is where I talk about those trenches, those cheeky spots, the ones that are really difficult to capture if you don't know about those strategies. So B1 and B2, pretty separated and a lot of open space in between. So getting both those captured for a lot of teams on offense has been problematic in the past.
Those wide shots are incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like proper war.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but the films that I have seen have me convinced that they dig trenches in weird shapes. Oh. Yeah, all of them, man.
Injected. Band of Brothers is so good.
Yeah, yeah. They got so, like their new Airman show is pretty good too.
Check it out. My dad was like, it was one of those shows where my dad's like, this is too good. You can't watch it as a kid. It's not made for you. And then I would like sneakily go downstairs for a soda and be like lingering a little bit too long. And then eventually an hour goes by and he realizes I'm sitting in the reclining chair. He's like, how long have you been here? And I'm like, yes.
Oh!
What a push.
That was not what he expected to see when he turned the corner.
No.
That was not.
Just a full squad of the other team.
All right, we're 7 minutes and 30 seconds into the match. I'm excited about that. I don't know if we're going to get to the 10 minutes for your scoreboard.
I don't know, man. I think with the way that it's gone, so right, they're in B right now. They still got to go through C, D, E. Like they've got a lot to push back through. But I think the good side here is like B on offense has been kind of like a breaking point. They immediately push for that vehicle. They get to the right side and enable that flank. We also see a lot of support players. They only had 2 people alive. Immediately those revives come out and they're back at full strength.
What is that? Oh, it's a shotgun.
Yeah, why he's shooting his teammates, nobody knows.
Yeah, well, things get crazy. You know, when the smoke is down and the trenches are full, you don't know who's who.
Unfortunately, you actually do. It's an icon and everything.
I read All's Quiet on the Western Front. Okay?
He's just sitting there. He's like, green means go, man. I don't care.
So this is, I will say, if you guys are joining us, this is not what you're used to seeing on a traditional esports style broadcast. It's because we're showcasing modes and having some fun. And so again, this is a really cool client. It is chaotic. We're going to do our best to help you define the chaos, but a lot of this is going to be, hey, man, you can see the names too. Let's see what happens. I like when we cut to first person, though. This is that, using that utility. Dude, that arrow was so powerful yesterday. It looks like it's on par here again today.
Yeah, again, a lot of the points being, I mean, you see how much objective points they're getting. Not only are they doing captures, but you're talking in a game like 20 to 30,000 is a pretty decent score. He's getting 1,100 in that few seconds just on the B point. Now, the difficulty that I talked about, sure, they pushed in that flank. Life was good. But you have to have both captured to get out of this and push them back to C. So the difficulty is while they had it already, guess who's overtaken back B2? Guess who's trying to fight back on B1? And it's all for nothing. It's difficult, man. I'm telling you.
And so now you see the resource on the top left if you guys are new. It says 313, 312 now versus Infinity. Every time that you die and release, that number goes down if you're an attacking team. Is that correct?
1000% correct. And it does give you a little bit back stock when you get to that next sector. So if they do get both B1 and B2 and they get to BC, they get a little bit of a boost.
You don't get the whole thing back.
Yeah, slight comeback mechanic. It's probably like 100 tokens, maybe, give or take. It's not too many. I think it's like 100 to 140.
So it's literally like being at the arcade when you like have a good round or hit that boost, and they're like, okay, 2 extra lives.
Yeah, you get that free ball and pinball, and you're like, I'm not done yet.
I'm the pinball wizard now.
Yeah, it's pretty chaotic though, man. Like, again, it's tough to see. Like, even when you look at the kill feed, you don't realize how many people are there until you just see how many names just populate like that. Like, you're like, okay, apparently there was a crazy fight over there. Like, 6 people just died.
Uh-oh, artillery barrage. I am excited to see what it does. This seems like a good map for artillery barrage. No friendly fire, so
yeah,
enjoy.
It is one of those things where you do have the ability to just completely stop either a capture from happening or the opposite, where it's like, hey, you're on zone playing defense. We're going to wipe the whole team and be able to push for free. So those are one of the viable things. Artillery barrage is like the 3rd or 4th most expensive.
Okay.
There is also another one that's basically like a tactical like nuke is basically what it feels like, and it will kill everything and everyone. If you see guys like Focus and Enders and stuff really pop off, they will literally save it for the final point on defense. So there's literally nothing you can do. Respawn, you die immediately. Respawn again, you die immediately, and it wipes the whole team. Like it completely destroys anything in its way, but it's also super expensive. Like,
you gotta be the best.
Yep.
That makes sense though, and honestly, I bet that's a huge point boost at the end of the game too if you can get to that level.
It's huge. We've seen them jump up like 16k points in a matter of like 3-4 seconds.
So is that where if you have an Enders or a Focus, you have a teammate who just plays support and follows them, shooting healing pistols the whole time?
I don't think so, because I don't know if it's like, I'd much rather have another teammate who is helping me, you know,
that's true,
fight the other player rather than focusing on me. Like, sure, I'm good as an individual, but it's no different than like, hey, if we're gonna peek, at least we can get a trade.
Yeah. Ooh,
the TTK is so quick in this.
It is. Sometimes I wish Operation TTK was a little closer.
I mean, I grew up playing like Halo SWAT, so yeah, shortest TTK make me happy. As long as my reaction time's not terrible, I'm good.
I like that. I like that nice middle of the road. You gotta have just enough time for a sick flick. You know what I mean?
I respect it.
Because the NA region for chat. By the way, guys, we're not on a delay in chat. So if you guys want to ask us questions, if you want to talk, if you want to get involved, let us know what your favorite parts are. We're here to listen as well. And as far as the ping goes, it's because we are inviting folks from all over the Americas region to play here. And sometimes that you just got to pick a server in the middle and hope that everyone can get something decent. And it is what it is.
As soon as guys are cracked, guy takes, like you said, you want that ability to flick, hits him with a drop shot, and then gets a 4K after that through the smoke. And then, like, the other team's just like, man, I thought you had him. Like,
right.
Like,
I guess we're not going in there. B1 finally looks like it might fall here. Is there a back way into that bunker that we see those guys holding underground?
Yeah, so you see where, God, what is that name? He just ran up to the front and traded with his teammate. But there's an area that you can actually, like, prone right here and get it.
Oh.
But, like, if you can get it, it's dope. But, like, the chances are pretty slim. So good for their team. They're able to get the front side. And it crawls in through the back, provide some support. Now, the nice thing is, as long as you have someone in there, as long as they're not in combat, that's the crucial thing. In order to redeploy, obviously, your teammate can redeploy on you. So again, just holding an angle, playing a little bit passive if you can, and they should get B1 as long as they have strength in numbers. If there's a bunch of players on the other team still on that point, it will push back the other way. So again, we've been now, what is it, 120 tickets ish?
Yeah,
and literally nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Slightly getting closer on the capture, but like
you know, it's fascinating, I will say, because like when I play myself, I always am like, I hope I'm an attacker, because I just feel like it's easier sometimes to attack than defend. But here it feels like maybe defense because of the ability to coordinate and not have to worry about how many times you go down.
It varies a lot on the map. Like,
that's true.
You know, I come from like history of watching like 1.5, 1.6 in CS. So like you have your CT and your T maps that are very heavily sided one way or the other. This one definitely feels initially very defense sided, but that changes once you get past this initial capture.
That makes sense. So I get that. So it's like those early buy rounds. You know you're going to lose some resources. You know you're going to end up walking out of this with maybe 110, but things should get easier in the next section.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is all that effort too. You've got some pretty heavy hitters on the other side. I think both Enders and Focus, two big players in the game, are on defense right now. So just never know, man. I'm excited to see like how things also play out, because while I do know some familiar names both from the content side, because let's be completely honest, YouTube reach goes hard. At the end of the day, like some of these players I may not be familiar with that are just absolutely cracked. You just never know. Also, again, we have players from across the entire region, so we may not be familiar with them. If you guys in chat are familiar with someone who's absolutely cracked, give them a shout out here in chat. Let us know where their Twitch stream is or their YouTube stream, so we can help them get more folks watching just how cracked they are. Because to me, that's the biggest thing, is I'm looking forward to seeing the future of Delta Force, you know, sort of like movers and shakers come out of these events over the next couple of months. Yeah, I think the reality is, we talked about this yesterday as well, about how it's cool to see kind of the early iterations as well as like what is the foundation, where people are going to be able to reminisce and be like, yo, you remember the community tournament back when we did this, and this name that was maybe lesser known. Like the one that comes to mind for me is I was in Santa Monica for an event, and there was a player by the name of TEAMPOOL from TSM.
Okay.
Pretty decent content creator, FPS guy, who had a sub tournament where his subs on his Twitch channel could sign up and play in a tournament, and whoever performed the best in that tournament got to join him in this like $50,000 TV event. His sub was a guy by the name of Abralelli, who many may know as like one of the most mechanically talented FPS players in Apex. Like they literally would send this rando 1v3 out into the wilderness, and he would only have a wingman and come back with like 6 kills and be like, nice. What happened? He's like, oh, no problem, I got it. And like immediately gets signed, joins a bunch of different teams, and it's kind of like been through the pro scene now for a couple of years. And it's like, that's kind of what these events remind me of. You know, there are those early iterations where it's like before things become solidified, before you see that true, you know, 3-man, 5-man stay. Like this is their origin stories, man.
Yep. Preparation makes success, man. Also, I want to give all these shout outs to streamers all night. Not a Muffin, Bro Kinesis says check out his stream if you guys are looking for some point of view perspectives. He says he's a cracked player that deserves a look. Looking at B2, B1 is done. How hard is the recap? I mean, we're going to see a lot of recaps, you think?
It depends, right? So if defense is playing this intelligently, they can put in that air barrage and then re-push it. So it does provide that kind of support. But it really depends on how offense plays this. So once they have that kind of foothold, if they slow push out, because too many people just get way overzealous.
Yeah.
Reality is though, KceL has been the one kind of popping off. We've watched this POV a few times now, and man is twitchy as ever. Like, look at that. Oh my God.
He just switched to his pistol. I was like, I can kill you with this too.
He basically turned into Neo. He dodged some bullets and took out the guy.
Nice.
Whew. I'm just saying, man. The rest of his squad has been dead a lot, and he hasn't. Like, so that's okay. Strategic beacon. That's one of the most important buys, in my opinion. Okay. If you have the funds for it, being able to put a beacon on a spot that is either heavily contested or kind of behind in a flank. Yeah. A lot of people from the other teams who you are competing against are going to pick that to redeploy, which gives you points for every single person. So not only does it benefit you in that regard, but you know, at the end of the day, this is a competition, right? These guys are trying to make sure that their overall points are higher than the other players. Yep. And it's an easy way to be like, hey, I'm helping my team and still getting points for it.
This is also, how do I say this? I'm excited about potentially being able to watch a type of esport that maybe isn't as sweaty as I'm used to getting in almost all esports. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys are just going to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, they'll play strategy, but they're not going to not take the recall beacon because it's going to give points to someone, right? Like they're going to be like, hey man, what a great strategic play. Let's go blow some stuff up. So I think that's actually going to, it's kind of fun in watching this. It's esports, but it's just passionately fun.
Yeah, at the end all to be all, to my knowledge, the number one thing is when we go back and we tally all the points in our first round, which again, I talked about defense being strong here. They show that. But the reality is, I hope that the end all to be all, the big decider is, as an attacker, did you win? As a defender, did you win? Defense gets a win, attackers get a loss. That's an 0-1 or a 1-0 in the score column. No matter what objective totals are, I hope, and I'm not exactly sure, I don't want to put that, but the reality is if you lost the round, like, you should not be favored after that. Like, I think the priority queue should be, did you win more rounds than the other people? If so, then what is your objective points as your second tiebreaker? Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But production, if you can change that and that's possible, big recommendation for me. Big recommendation for me.
Well, we'll see. And I tell you guys, we're going to get to a chance to go over all the leaderboards. I do think it might take a little while to tally some of these, considering how many players are in the lobbies. And remember, there's 2 separate, right, exactly, 2 lobbies of this chaos. So what we just watched times 2 going on.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of math and stuff that has to happen behind the scenes. Luckily for myself and Toffees, we're not the ones who have to do it. So with that said, guys, we're going to go tally it up. We're going to go figure out what the totals are when we come back. Round 2, leaderboards, all that other kind of fun stuff. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Come on. Almost there.
Admit defeat, rookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. Give it back.
Look down on me. Give it to me.
Looks like it's my turn.
Hey everybody, welcome back. North America Delta Force Community Tournament. Slaller and Toffee's holding it down. We just saw round 1 between Group A and Group B on trench warfare nonsense, and in the trenches it stayed. They never got out, Toffees. Obviously, some pretty exciting stuff here, and for everybody who's hanging, appreciate you guys being here. Longer breaks, as we alluded to, because there is 96 players that we've got to tally up the votes and the points and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to production, by the way, you guys in the back. A lot of work that you guys are doing and nobody sees it, so we appreciate you, and I'm sure chat does too. But with that said, we got to switch focus and get ready for our second match, which we're gonna be taking a look still at Group A and Group B, but on a different map. So a little bit different there. As a quick reiteration before we get into the tournament and the updates on the scores and all that kind of stuff. Land warfare today, it is attack versus defense. Everybody's gonna get a little bit of opportunity for both sides on 2 different maps. There is 4 groups of 6. The best team performing from the group, even though they're all working as a team of 24, the ones that perform the best are the ones that get to move forward. So a little bit chaotic here, but as we take a look at the best scores here in match 1, these are the individuals. I told you about 20k, 20 to 25, 30k is a good score, and these guys are hitting right on the marker of that.
Makes sense. And he's hitting nukes. Want more nukes, but NetX, Gigs, Siren coming out here at the top position. 3 members of T1 looking very, very good. So that I think that bodes well for them as they hope to be one of those squads advancing out of that group. Now, this did seem like it's interesting because as I read it, defense won, right?
Yeah, the defense won. So my curiosity if it is purely just point based, because while offense sure is the ones not progressing forward, if they've got a bunch of points, a bunch of kills and everything like that, like 66 kills in a high level lobby is crazy. But you know, we were on the focus of Kazam a lot, who is 1v3ing a lot. Yeah, the reality is like dude was fragging, but on defense, are you sitting on the capture point or not? How is that applying? And with how many retakes we saw on B1, there is a chance that those points accumulated and added up, or you're just able to focus. I mean, speaking of focus, the team on TF, multiple players, I told focus enders, both players to pay attention to. Yeah. Obviously some pretty high level fraggers out there. They know those peaks, those cheek points, those kind of really heavily contested transition areas. You know, they're gonna frag out while looking over those. But on defense, we'll see if that changes on offense.
Best assist, and again, remember, all of these things come into play in the overall score, so we're going to showcase it to you. But just because someone dominates in one doesn't mean that they're not doing a good job somewhere else, or vice versa, right? And that's you know, you're playing a support class, you're not going to be the kill leader, but when we get to things like assists or reses, you're going to be a big part of that process, and all of those points are going to go into advancing. So this is not just because we talk endlessly about someone who gets a three-way, you know, a three-piece or 4-piece without going down. They may not even be the biggest impact on their team, right? Like 40 rescues for Mostro is going to give them an insane amount of points.
It really is. And again, we talk about the different strategies and implementations that can be provided. And for a player like that, okay, maybe you're not the best fragger. You see some of the other guys that are a little bit more aggressive than you are. They are going to go down. That's just the reality of being offense on that map. So if you can sit back and get those reses, those are points that you are accumulating that are beneficial, that are going to increase. So take a look at the overall standings. This is where we're at for Group A and B. And right now, it is Group A that takes the lead at Tier 1, living up to the name.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, we saw that first scoreboard. It was a lot of the attacking teams up there, but really it's the defense teams that seem to have come away with the most overall points. And I think that recap that you brought up had a massive impact here in the overall score.
Yeah, 100%. Again, the team that I was focused on is the Foreheads with Focus, Enders, and the Boys. And I think what really balanced them out is, sure, you've got 2 guys that are absolutely fragging. Those are all being assisted as well. Your number 1 assister in the leaderboard was from that team. And then you had another guy who is on the top when it came to your revives and everything else too. So very well balanced, but overall standings and stuff, you take a look at that total accumulated score across all 4 players. Certified fraggers in Group D, that is a metric ton of points.
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points, though. I'm a big fan of the shooters and scooters, obviously, and hope that they continue to climb. And remember, the top teams from both of those combined groups will go the distance. So as of right now, 4 teams from D, 2 teams from C would be advancing. But just like the last board we saw, it seems like the defense teams had an advantage there as well in terms of pulling in points. At trench lines, we're going to swap now as we head over to Shafted, and I think we might see some changes because defense does feel like it has a bit of an advantage there, and the ability to hold those lines, work your your respawns. Luna can get a good respawner down, and you can use it 20 times in a good defense position.
Yeah, much bigger map as well on Shafted. It's going to start on the train tracks, everything above ground, and then once they get through those initial points, we then jump back down inside, and that's when things get crazy. There's a couple of really big choke points. You even see it in that thumbnail where there's the God, how would you describe it? But the tunnels that go down and beneath the kind of like the catwalks and everything. Yeah, there is a couple areas where it's like it's so easy to hold those, and if people are using those electric arrows and everything, it's like you can't really push. You have to force it, and people just get picked off. Like it is a strength in numbers. You just have to deal with the respawn side of things. So,
and I think that's where
24 action, man, right off the gate.
And I think that's where we're going to see some trouble once they get down there, because those holds are going to be tough with the limited resources for the attacking team. 400 to start with. Let's see how fast it falls down. Defense won last time. I would say this part, though, still favoring the attackers. They should be able to move to the train, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah, I feel like a capture on this one's relatively easy. It's just based upon how close you are versus respawns on the other team. Like, it's just easy to get right back into the action. So here's seeing how they'll play it. Again, loving the first person kind of perspective. You can kind of get into the head of the players and see how they're approaching it. Yeah. A bit of a cheeky peek. We got to be careful outside of the zone, and that's what we were talking about a little bit. So you can see it in the minimap on the top left. You can't go past the areas that are not marked green. So if you go into the red, you get a countdown timer. You got to push your way back in.
And remember, you don't lose points for bad accuracy, so it's okay to just go crazy. All right, A already under massive assault. Now this is a map I'm far more familiar with because it's proccing a lot right now if you guys go play. So you too can play on this map at the moment and try out these skills. But I'll tell you what, getting into that train hangar is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to the operator that you're picking as well. Again, people are using those kind of smokes and kind of just cutting off angles altogether. Something that a lot of people don't really do in pub lobbies, unfortunately, is use their utility. Yeah. Everybody thinks that the only thing you can do is shoot your gun. So
dude, utility's so good.
It is literally make or break for these game modes, and for some reason, my teammates always go for the breaking point, which is my sanity.
I like that. I mean, because like this is a good example here. Like this building, if you've got your poison gas, if you've got a couple of rocket launchers, you can clear out an open space, get your team inside, and then from there expand. And that's the nice part of what we're watching. Remember, if you guys are joining us now, this is not a pub mode. This is a private server with teams that had to work to get here, showing off just how good they are at the strategy of this game.
Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. No, we got some interviews, and there's a chance that we actually get an interview at the end of this match as well. Fingers crossed on that one, so we can kind of pick the brains. But the reality is, for a lot of these guys, it's a different type of tier, I would say, of competition. Obviously, there's your players that you know, the people that everybody has followings on, and what kind of content you're paying attention to. But to see them even push their limit, where it's like, hey, the strategies that we've done before, we haven't really gotten to see. We haven't seen us put in a lobby with everybody else who's also really, really good all in one place. And that changes, I think, when you talk about different styles and how people want to approach the game. The reality, too, being that, hey, I don't know what group I'm getting. I don't know who's in my group. Does that team have just a bunch of fraggers? Are we have guys that are really good at communication and a little bit more strategy route? Like, there's definitely that balance in that regard, too. So
this should be fascinating to watch. Now, we don't have a live leaderboard for you guys, so we'll be checking in between matches. But if you keep an eye on that feed over there, you can see teams like XceL Cole. XceL seem to be doing pretty well. Ender's constantly popping up on that over and over again, and then a bunch of red names that are impossible to read.
Yeah, I think the names that you're going to see pretty regularly as well, like Focus and Ender's, those guys with the forehead team. They were sitting in 4th, I think, overall at one point. The difference is getting a chance to now take the other side. I think for a lot of these guys, they're a lot more comfortable playing offense or defense. And if I had to go with forehead, they love being on the offensive side. They like being able to push aggressively and really utilize. Because again, we're talking out of that leaderboard, we saw a majority of their team is in the kill lead. Like, they definitely know how to get kills. They know how to play the position and double down on that. So when they get that aggressive opportunity, and then they can pair that with the buys and do the air barrages and stuff like that, I think it really doubles down. But at this point, just playing it smart, you know, holding train station, not trying to push out.
Who is this?
This is Kazam. We've been watching him. Remember
My
when
God.
he was like, oh shoot, I got to reload, swaps to his pistol, dodges
Yep.
4 shots, and then headies
Yep.
the guy? Same guy.
Nutter, bro. That's wild. Look at it.
Just drop shots, keeps the 80.
So, and honestly, like,
whatever you got to do, man.
what I find fascinating is you can tell how much drop shotting is a problem because the amount of the players' perspective that we're seeing, where anytime they shoot into smoke or around a corner on a pre-breach, they're firing at the ground first, is fascinating to me because drop shotting is such a big deal right now. Like, you're assuming that if they're in the smoke, their heads are going to be lower to the ground than we traditionally expect.
Dude, can you imagine if you're on the receiving end of this in real life, where you're like, all right, we got to defend this position, and then you see 400 parachutes come down? And you're like,
Yeah, no. That's when I say I'm good, man.
just
Pass.
set down your gun and walk away.
I don't know if I'd set it down. I mean, you know, I think it's my favorite favorite scene I ever had in a little game called CS back in the day. You know, we pushed I don't know, one of the hallways, and we're sitting there, and there's one player on the other team, and it was a pub match, and we just see from the corner his gun fly out, and he just walked out with his knife and let us shoot him. But it was the funniest surrender I've ever seen in my life. He just discarded his weapon and was like, "Here, take it."
Not even a pistol to pretend he's baiting like a flash.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He was like, nope. He was just like, we got so outclassed. Take the last kill. It's over. You know, I wouldn't say that's gonna be me in this scenario, but if I saw 24 parachutes drop through that tube, you can bet your butt I'm walking backwards. Jeez, what a choke point.
Yeah, a lot easier on that first capture, which we predicted. So B1, B2 is a little bit different. A lot of elevation changes as well. It is kind of tough to push into as long as the defense sets up correctly, but the reality and the way it usually plays out is because it is happening in transition. Everybody's pushing so hard to stop that train station capture.
Yeah.
That they're not really set up for it. You do definitely have to stick kind of one step ahead. You can either flank to that right side and then come through those ventilations with the fans.
Yeah.
You can play low side and go through the crate system, which has a bunch of different elevations. There's also a catwalk up top that you got to be careful of. And then on top of that, there is a massive wide flank. You're probably going to see focus going for it right now. This guy who's right in front of Kazam right now on your left.
That catwalk to the left is brutal if you can get a good team up there. Oh, drop shot.
Ooh, close.
Oh, 97 of 100.
A lot of green on that feed.
So much green on that feed. They're doing that counter push. The counter push. They all sort of worked their way out of the tunnel, but it seems like this spot right here is where that you sort of crest the sand, and that's when the defense is waiting for you.
Yeah, a lot of it, again, if you're willing to remove yourself from the play for just a little bit, it is a really good flank opportunity, but big difference here, and well done by Bant. Just kind of knowing where the defense is going to be coming from. Not getting many kills there, but again, it's just enough time to hopefully provide some support for the teammate.
Yep.
His teammate, who is next to him, out of combat, hopefully a place to respawn back to in a bit.
All right, they're coming in. B2 looks like it's about to turn.
Ooh, they're pushing back on B1.
Yeah.
And back the other way.
I would say a fresh infusion from the computer rooms or server
wow,
rooms.
B1 is really losing now.
Jeez. They were so close to that double cap.
Every time it looks like they're going to cap one of these, and then they don't.
Ooh,
I have no idea what happened there. It looks like those shots were hidden.
just better. Has a
Skill
nicer
issue.
nicer gaming chair probably.
Full decked out RGB underglow.
Dude, why don't I have RGB underglow? I had it. I mean, okay. There was a time that I grew up around the 90s. We had it on our cars. Why do I not have it on my gaming desk?
I'm telling you, man, if you had it on your chair, you'd have better FPS. I think
That
that's
makes-
just the reality.
And like you can change the color if you're feeling like, oh man, purple's really not working tonight. Do you remember the heyday of RGBs on PCs?
Oh, yeah.
We
I mean,
moved
even
away
on-
from it, but
I mean, the heyday of like RGB on a Dodge Neon. Like,
that's true.
which, like, bro, why are you spending money on a Dodge Neon to...
Hey man, any car, any chassis is fine if you put enough into the engine. So they say.
I don't know about that one, but... There's some pretty rough slams out there, man. I'm just saying.
I've seen some terrible ones, but that's the talk for another time. What I have seen here is some amazing plays. I will say we're swapping back and forth. I'm a little bit. We did see the cap go through from the attackers there on the B sites. We're down to the last hold here on C. This might be a very fast game. This attacking team has just been brutal.
Yeah, I'm curious on, you know, if they play it too quick that they're not able to really rally up the points.
Yeah, kind of. You almost got to wonder if you're the attackers. You go, hey guys, can we slow it down a little bit?
Yeah, do we want to farm these guys a little bit? You know, kind of play a little BM, but
yeah,
at the same time, you're denying them defensive points too. At the same time,
true.
If I'm on defense as well, this is where the operation swap happens. If you can, you know, come in and be like, okay, more choke point, more of the electric arrows.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where your whole squads, all 6 of your squads could advance, right?
Yep.
If you're just that much better.
A lot of smoke action though.
Right, it reminds me of college. Because of tactical training.
Uh-huh.
Nice. You guys didn't have tactical smoke in class in college? No.
I dropped out. So.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, huh?
Yeah, a lot of WoW.
Well, I had a lot of friends drop out because of WoW.
But it was life consuming. It really was.
I got a world first.
We were 33rd in the world for PvE progression 10-man hard mode.
Nice.
Yep.
It
doesn't count for anything, and there's a lot of useless information in my head from it, but like.
I have a world first on boss killers for Jalana Live.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was awesome, to be honest. I remember posting that, just being like, oh, we finally did it, boys. I can retire.
Man, they're doing such a good job. Defense right here in this room is holding it down.
Yeah, they are. Like solid comms for the most part, it seems like. Yeah, get rid of that respawn.
Well done.
Yeah, at that box.
After seeing that. I mean, kudos for holding that peak, but after that, after those shots come out, I'm like, yeah, I'm going back around.
Strategic D beacon deployed. Dude, focus with that Bison.
Yeah, there's that's something we haven't really talked about is gun meta in this.
Yep.
A lot of support class, a lot of the medium class goes the SMG 45.
Okay.
Crazy good fire rate, basically no recoil, and just the draw speed is insane. So a lot of people like it for, you know, if you're playing super aggressive, whipping around corners and stuff. It's just the TK on it's really good. It's not as crazy as like the Vector, but stable, very stable.
Gotcha. Vector's got more kick to it.
He's literally using it right now, so it makes me feel good about what I'm saying.
Nice.
Bison again as well, massive clip, really, really easy to just say, hey, I'm going to stay in the fight forever. And then M4s are really popular.
Oh, look at that shot.
A couple LMGs too.
Yeah, M4s are always popular, you know?
Yeah. You unlock it at level 20.
Oh, I know.
17 or something like that. And
I
like,
spent
if you level it up,
so many tokens and have. So if you guys now, because not everyone's a pro, we'll also say, and actually we'll wait till after this game because we have some time to fill. But I do remind me to explain how the experience tokens for new players, how it doesn't take forever to get the gun you want up and running.
Last place I want to be in the air duct is when some dude peeks a corner with an RPG. Like.
Yep. He's the worst is like a D-Wolf, and he's there with the grenade launcher. He's shooting the wrist rockets, having a great time.
Man, again, this is difficult too because it's like, oh sure, he can revive all these people. Good points as well, getting the squad mates back up and everything. But the difficulty is like, yeah, just stay here prone, pretend you're not alive, and keep going. That's
well, that was just a straight up sacrifice play. Got to respect it.
Yeah, I assume that teammate went down immediately after anyway. But it's like, this is what I was talking about, how there's a couple parts where it's just like that choke point. It's like good luck pushing through. It's just a numbers game. You just have to keep going.
Just keep pushing. This is how you get through.
This is how you earn a lot of points when you're on defense.
Overwhelming force. Oh, I hate when they do that. You're trying to walk up a ramp and they throw that thing in front of you. Look at this. Look at accuracy through volume, boys.
Yep. If you got an LMG with a 150 mag, just hold it and keep aiming. They will run in.
Surely he must be done by now.
He's got to reload eventually, right? Right? And then his teammate takes over.
Right?
You just sit around that corner and be like, any second now. Any second. And it just never stops.
I feel like that's a meme I got to take with me for future
Yeah.
events. Kill him. Another strategic beacon out. See, strong for now, but man, how do you get in here?
Again, it's a strength and numbers thing. Like the difficulty is like we talked about, there's 6 teams, 24 players total.
Yeah.
You are individually as 4 trying to outperform everybody else, but at the same time you need essentially half of those people to come with you.
Yeah.
And say, we're going to push this side, you guys need to push that side, and we need to make sure we spread the numbers thin and then hope we can successfully do it. But allowing them to like focus on one area, as you just saw, they just constantly were able to just hold that air duct. For these guys here, it's like, okay, you push into the main floor, you get a little bit of opportunity to open it up. Now you need people pushing that other side as well. You also need some people that are more than willing to take that super wide flank as well. There's an area in the back left if we're looking at C right now.
I see.
On the very, very left-hand side, there's an area like that you can do, but it's a long hallway that is very tough to get through.
You want to bring a whole squad with you too.
Yeah, I mean, 1 or 2 people as well is enough as long as you play patient and like redeploys happen, but yeah, it's pretty risky. Seems like they're finally breaking through, and it's like as soon as they do, they get a couple of those people downstairs. They've just got to find a way to hold off and let redeploys coming in, so then it's like 4.
That makes sense. Like you're gonna lose half your strength taking the entry point, then hold it and get all those redeploys back for a full strength next push.
Seems like they pushed through though. It looks like they're gonna cap on the greenhouse. Oh, so close to.
Uh-oh. This man and his pistol. What? Should be it.
Oh, I know he was like shooting at like grenades and stuff, but it looked like he was just shooting at his teammates the whole time.
Yep. Well, the chaos. All sectors have fallen. So the defenders won neither game, correct?
Time
the defenders won the first game.
The defenders won the first game.
Yep.
This time they lost, so it's an even trade. To my knowledge, they did stay on the same side, so they played offense twice, defense twice, if I remember correctly. It did swap the things, so maybe they're like, you play offense defense, and they'll invert it. Again, sometimes the graphics are tough to read, so we'll have to figure that one out and get clarification. It probably will showcase us when we get into the catch up and the points, but obviously you said you were a little bit more familiar with that map. Thoughts on it so far for your toppies? A little bit better?
I mean, I think they're both very good. I think it's a chaotic mode that is just fun to watch. You sort of brought it up yesterday. Like tomorrow's interest, where today was all about sweat when it came to operations. Tomorrow's going to be about sort of leaning back and enjoying the ride and just the chaos that is Delta Force. And I think that we accomplished that in spades. It's fun to watch. I think partly because, unlike other games that I've played in this mode, where you have to go through forever to unlock all your weapons and level up your attachments and get sort of all of these things going, Delta Force, again, has done a really good job of creating ways. It's like, hey, man, if you play, you earn these experience tokens. If you spend a little bit of time in game and you have a favorite weapon where you're like, I just really want my Vector to be awesome, or I really want my M4 to be awesome, you can do that. You can spend those tokens, max it out, have everything that you need to feel comfortable without grinding it for 3 to 4 weeks. Like, there are other games that I enjoy that I've been playing since, PlayStation 2, and we used to say very mean things when we played it on the PlayStation. You know what game I'm talking about. But that grind where you just want to play with the boys, you want to get on, you guys want to play for a couple of hours, and, Kush is running around with the most kidded thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, sad boy Timmy, because it takes so long to grind up to that. The fact that this game solves some of those issues and says, hey man, even though you don't have all the time to play, we respect that, and we want to give you these things, not paid for. We want to give you these things to help you feel like you're having fun, has been really, really cool to see, and has made me really love the game.
Yeah, I think there's other games that are like, hey, we just give you flat XP for doing these objectives or these like daily missions. So the fact that they do that and they incentivize, hey, play the objective, do the capturing. You're going to get a bonus XP. Help your teammates. You're going to get bonus XP. Do these things that are actually helpful. It incentivizes you to play the right way, which is cool, and encourages it. But then on top of that, it's like you can pick and choose how you want to allocate your weapon XP tokens. If it's like, hey man, you don't just have to keep playing, you can just literally click a button after doing these things. You unlock all the different stuff. That M4 you just unlocked, you can immediately get all the attachments like that. And it's really cool to see that kind of emphasis where that then carries through the enjoyment. Or you can kind of spread the love a little bit and give yourself a little bit of boost. So it's like, hey, I'm not going in blind. One other thing is really cool about Warfare is they do have like pre-built loadouts for some of the guns. Where it's like one of them's called like streamer's favorite or whatever, and it's like, hey, these are attachments that most popular community members use, and you just get it, you just have it. So it's like starting, and you and I have played plenty of games where it's like you come in and it's like, I have 0 attachments. When I click the button, my gun is shooting at the sky because there's so much recoil. Like, how am I supposed to level it when this other guy has literally a laser beam that does not have any recoil, any kick, whatever, and it's so easy to hit? So I think there's a cool way to balance, and again, it goes back to that accessibility between different game modes, between the ability to come in, pick it up, and play, and not feel like you're completely left out. I think they've hit the nail on the head on that ease of use when it comes to actually being able to play this game.
But also, I think it's the ease of use, but also balancing well with it. Feels like you're still rewarded for being a grinder and knowing the game, and especially when it comes to operations in this mode in the late game. So I think that it's nice to have that middle ground. I think the best example we saw was that pistol. We saw multiple guys pull out fully kitted pistols because they ran out of ammunition and moved to their sidearm. How many games have I played where the sidearm is just irrelevant because nobody wants to take the time to grind a sidearm to a red dot and extended mag and all the other things that come with it? Here, that's what the tokens are for, because you may not always need it, but when you do need it, you want to make sure it's maxed out. So I do love that they've done that. I love that they've made this fun, accessible, and that you're rewarded for playing both modes. Like, I am not, an attack and defend type of person, not by default, but I still play 3 or 4 rounds every night because when I'm done with op and I want to cool down, I know there's also some cool quest rewards, there's some neat bonuses, there's gun skins that are very quickly accessible when you play the other mode and you sort of put them together. So to me, it really has opened up a whole slew of games that are enjoyable that don't cost me anything and all come in one title. So because all right, we're going to go into more because the other features they've had that we're not even showcasing recently, like the raid system, has been incredible to play.
Yeah, well, rather than us kind of being talking heads about it, I'd rather get someone who actually grinds this game more than we could ever dream of.
Grinders.
We're going to bring in an interview with the one and only Enders from the Four Heads, a team that I've been talking up quite a bit. Enders, first and foremost, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for taking the time, despite being in the middle of competition. It's always a pleasure.
The pleasure's mine, Well, I've seen you guys.
That's a great way to start it, man.
Seen you guys commentate a lot of games that I watch, so what's up?
Hey,
what's up, man?
Appreciate it. First and foremost, man, we're gonna kick it off with you. Obviously, we've seen you compete in a lot of different things and a lot of different approaches to Delta Force, primarily. Your experience so far, obviously, it's a little bit different when the lobbies are as stacked as they are. Competition is not your kind of pickup creator type focus. How's the experience been from your perspective as someone who's seen it from both ends?
Well, actually, the lobbies are easier compared to the normal lobbies we play because these lobbies are randomly put together, and the lobbies we play in the normal game is like MMR matchmaking. So this is actually this is really fun.
Cool.
It's basically just try to get as much points and perform as best as you can. And, we're playing Luna. We're shooting wall hack arrows. We're reviving, smoking. It's business as usual, playing with the boys.
Nice. All right, so help the viewers who are joining us. They just found out about this game, all the different modes. They want to play with the boys. Where do they put those XP tokens? What gun do you think you'd recommend a beginner, double down on? Maybe what operator would you say get started with?
I would definitely look at the assault classes like Viren and D-Wolf, and then the medic class with Toxic and Stinger. Put some coins into the SMG-45. Just does everything. Like, it's the weapon you will see a lot in this tournament, like either someone using it or getting killed by it. It's basically an SMG AR. That is like your best bet weapon to just full on just dump coins into. And then the M4A1 and the CI-19 for assault.
Man literally just called me out when I played in Rivals. That's like literally one after another. He's like, exactly what you're doing. I'm like, good. I'm glad I also watched the video that one of you guys made. Thank you. Like, it works out really, really well. And there's obviously, you talk about playing with the boys. From your perspective, like, sure, playing and queuing online and doing the thing on a weekend is always a good time, but there's something different, I think, about the level of competition. What is the fact that, you know, Delta Force is coming forward with these community tournaments mean to you guys? The ability to actually play with stuff on the line against other big name competitors?
Well, it's really fun because a lot of people that I play with, we've come from games that, you know, never hold anything like this. So to see it happen so consistently, it's definitely really interesting. It's really fun because we get to do a lot of stuff, you know, for stream, because, you know, we run our own streams and everything, and a lot of community events, and it's just nice to have an active game for once. It's rest. It's just a big rest, you know.
Yes.
Thankfully, we can look forward to things.
100%. You know, Lawler and I have had some fun playing with Delta Force and doing stuff in the past. I was always blown away with the fact that they messaged us afterwards and were like, what worked, what didn't work, what are you guys loving about the game? It seems like the feedback's been really good. Are you happy with where the game is right now so far?
Yeah, there are some problems that I'd like to see fixed, but the game has started off really, really well. I hear from the operations players there's like a big cheating thing, but they put out weekly you know, bans on cheaters. They literally tell us what they're doing, so hopefully they can get that under control. But I think the game's in a good place. There's just 2 or 3 things that they need to address that I think would really like push it over the edge.
I agree. I think the stronger release is pretty impressive. Go ahead, Lawler.
Yeah, I think ultimately there's always going to be those that try to exploit and do things that are outside of our control, and the fact that they are forward about it and trying to do something to prevent it is important. But at the end of the day, I think we always expect perfection. You know, as people that have been gaming and playing FPSs forever, we always want more, which I think is a good thing to have from your community, right? Is like, dude, I want this to be as best as it can be because I do really enjoy it. So without taking further attention away from you, Enders, I know you guys got to prepare for another match and yet another one after that. So before we let you go here, I want to give you the floor, the ability to do any shout outs, use this soapbox, or the ability to get on your high horse and say what it is you want to say, whether it be about your teammates, about the game, whatever it is. The floor is yours, and hopefully don't make me regret this.
Hey, if you want to watch the top frag of the last match, go to twitch.tv/enders, okay? Like, we put out weapon guides every day. I stream every day of my life. Come on now. Hey, come on. We're trying to farm the entire server, win the tournament. We're having fun over here.
Hey, you heard it from the man himself. Enders, again, we greatly appreciate you taking the time, man. We appreciate the love and support. Again, if you guys want to go check him out, twitch.tv/Enders. He's streaming literally all the time, and if you don't know how to get into this game, an easy way to do it is checking out the guides. Enders, as always, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you guys.
And shout outs to the boys from the Foreheads who are doing what they can to provide the content. Obviously, Toffees, it is cool to be able to see some of these guys that they literally have the ability to do this for what is their living, right? Like they day in and day out are always on the grind. The fact that drops are being supported and stuff, it really incentivizes people to tune in and watch. And then hopefully the goofiness and the banter is what keeps you around.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it there. He said he's embraced it. This has truly become Ender's game, and I think it's going to become a lot of people's games as they continue to explore and get involved with it, because there are so many different ways to do it. I did like that interesting insight to the idea that it's a little harder when you're doing the ranked matchmaking, because again, it's something that we haven't talked about. If you're playing this game, you get lobbied with people who are about the same skill level. So he's saying, listen guys, you don't understand this because you're all scrubby, but it gets really hard at the top. Like here, it's been nice. I'm having some fun, which really I'd feel terrible if on the other teams, to be honest.
Oh God, yeah. If you got these guys fronting out at the top and they're literally using wall hacks, like things that are acceptable in the game due to the operators, I think it's pretty dope. So with that in mind, obviously we've got a bunch of competition that we've gotten through already, but we still have a lot of things to tally up in the back. So we're going to go to a quick break, guys. It might be extended a little bit just because of all the different groups and the 96 players that they have to do a bunch of math on. But when we come back, it's going to be match 3. Don't go anywhere.
Yesterday at 1500 hours, a convoy was attacked passing through Asara's eastern transport hub. Survivors confirmed the attack was perpetrated by the Asara Guard. This is the third attack this month. Residents and merchants in the area were already panicking. Hamka, one of the leaders of the Asara Guard, is our prime suspect. He operates east of Zaltiva and has been extremely active lately. We have reason to believe that he is trading stolen supplies with an unknown party in exchange for arms. You need to find out what he's planning. At dawn, recon drones sighted Hamka in a fishing village near Zaltiva. Get there, find and neutralize Hamka ASAP. The village is unusually quiet today. Watch out. Don't fall prey to an ambush.
Take out the intruder! Chivalry garage! What the? Target down! Go for it!
Beware of hostile suicide vehicles.
For Hamka! Fire! Take them out! Something's wrong there!
This bridge is vital for transit. If the bridge is blown, we'll lose our reinforcements. Disarm those bombs, now!
Stop them! Go! Full throttle!
All bombs are disarmed. Good job.
Fire! Pull them back!
A Havoc heli? What's it doing in Asara Guard territory?
Our vehicle needs to be fixed! Loser, over here! RPG! Take them! Taking damage! Fire! Fire! Grab them! Now!
Trailer says it better than I ever could. A whole bunch of more content coming to this game, and it's all for free. Check the game out on Steam, you guys. Delta Force. It's easy to do. There's a bunch of different game modes, but we are sticking to Warfare. It is myself, Lawler, and Toffee's holding it down. Getting ready to go into match number 3. Obviously, we got to tally up all these scores and tell you what the heck is going on as we take a look. It was our best squad is Beacon only. And on average, probably about 30-ish kills per person. Not too shabby.
No reses. They're just going for the straight up smash face, shoot you in the head. Gotta love it.
My kind of people, man. It's
Right?
my kind of people.
Right?
All gas, no brakes, no brain. That's what we want. Just click heads. That's the way to go about it. But with that in mind, a lot of that I think just has to do with the type of map and the type of gameplay we're seeing. As we take a look at the best scores across, we were talking to Enders a little bit ago in his interview, and he talks about how, hey, I was the kill leader, but sometimes there's other things that are a little bit important outside of just getting kills. But what he's happy to see is multiple members of his team.
3 of them.
On
Jeez. That's wild. TF,
Yeah,
TF,
look at the 1-2,
TF.
man. Ugh.
So, and for those of you guys, as we go over this, the reason that's important is the top 6 squads from both of the groups will advance to the grand final. So regardless of if they continue to win or lose matches, if they're putting 3 of their 4 players in the leaderboards every single time, they're not going to have any problems going to the grand final.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a collective of all of these
assists.
stats together. That's a lot.
That's like a man who uses an M24 and just sprays the entire field. Like he just
That
goes
was the
straight
guy who was
across.
sitting outside of those ducks. He
Yep,
was sitting
straight
outside
across.
of those ducks. He's like, I'm covering fire, the whole time for the entire game. But
I don't have to
no,
kill him. I
think-
just got to make him limp.
Yeah, the reality is for a lot of these guys, it seems like they are enjoying themselves quite a bit, having a lot of fun. The thing our job is to do is see what a collective of all these results are and who is accumulative of all of those parts in the sum to find out what our overall standings are. As you take a look here, Forehead's moving up a spot. Tier 1 still staying at the very top, but the big difference here is things are balancing out. Look how close those totals are. You're only talking a couple thousand difference.
And so I think as we switch it up, I am interested still to see if it was attack, defend, because I do think some of these teams are gonna. What do we see? We knew the Foreheads. They attacked again, right?
to my knowledge, they were on defense and now they were on offense. So they did
Okay, so play back
alternate.
and
So
forth.
they will go back now, I think, on defense because they're playing
Yep.
the same map. Or
Yep.
no, they'll go back to offense. So they went offense, defense, offense.
Yep.
No, they went defense, offense.
Defense. There you go. Defense, offense. Theoretically, they'll go back to defense on trench again.
I
So
think
we-
they're gonna. No, why would they play defense on the same map twice?
I don't
Right?
know.
You think they switch it up. So my assumption is they played defense, then they played offense. Now they're gonna play offense again
Mm.
back on trench because
And
they
then
played
end.
defense the first time, and then,
And then end with the D.
Yeah, that's what
That
I
makes
think is
sense.
going to happen. Maybe not. We won't get to find out because we're going to jump into our other
Oh,
groups.
okay.
Say goodbye to them. We'll find out at the end of the day. It's all a ruse. We got you good, chat. You didn't see it coming, and quite
Deuces.
frankly, either did we.
I
There's a
forgot
lot of
about
moving
that.
Parts, Ben.
We
Yeah.
we get to meet new players now. So all of that
Yeah.
hype that we've done to build up the forehead, don't worry, they'll probably be in the grand final, maybe. We'll know later. But now it's time for groups C and D to not, I wouldn't say take the field. They have been fighting, so you saw the updates going through. But now we get to actually see what it looks like when groups C and D go to war.
100%. As a reminder, everybody, don't forget this is not the first and only day. We had one yesterday where we checked out Operation. Tomorrow, make sure you tune back in with us. We get to see the grand finals of that. The 6 best squads all battling it out. A surprise guest that we don't even know about is going to be joining, and we will get to see them fighting it out for the lion's share of that big prize pool. Everybody who's battling today will be joining us on Sunday night. And don't forget, we also have an EU show too. There's plenty of Delta Force action for you guys all to tune into. Plenty of teams to show your love and attention to. All these guys obviously doing what they can to provide that content for you all. If you want to go check out individual POVs, very easy to look up some of these usernames and go support whether they're streaming on Twitch or otherwise, just like us. But time
It's
to get into match 3.
It's happening.
It's time.
All right,
It's
new
time.
players. I know nothing about. It's like this. Like we're starting over. A is being defended.
I want to
Nailed
way
it.
too soon prediction from you. Are they going to be able to cap and get past A? Are we going to see more than just the trenches in the B zone? Or are we going to get to C zone? Do you think it's going to happen?
Can we, I didn't get to watch them last time. I think based on the numbers, the attackers did very well last time. I mean, look at that. He just hit the long shot twice in a row. Like these guys are going to win for sure.
Well, there's some fan favorites. This is the lobby with One Shot Rich getting love from
Okay.
the chat. Even stopped by a little bit with his fancy little check mark. We see you, Rich. We got
Okay.
you.
Little one shot Rich. Let's see if he can live up to his name.
I wonder
Not
if
a
he
lot of
has his-
snipers I'm noticing.
No, it's the reality is like, hey man, the TTK is so low. Do you really want to only use a gun that can shoot once every couple seconds?
True. But the quests, Adam, the quests.
I will say you do get a ton of points for long range kills. Like,
Oh, really?
if you're sitting way back there and you hit a long range kill for like a couple hundred meters, it's like 600-700 points. It's insane.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
kind
a
of cool.
lot. It's a lot.
The sniping in this game is actually really enjoyable.
It is. Hold shift, click heads, make it count.
Mm-hmm. Well, like in Ops, I've been running because I can't afford ammo. I've been running sniper rifles, and it's been actually really nice. How do I explain that? When you play a shooter, it's like the feeling of like Gallagher smashing a watermelon. You know, like the sound, like
Okay.
you know what I'm talking. Like when you shoot someone, like there's a feedback feeling that's like you can't feel it in your mouse, but the sound design and the animations make it feel rewarding to hit a good shot.
It is.
This
I
game's
forget
well
what, like,
designed.
the scientific term for it is where it engages multiple senses, so the
Yes.
other ones kind of like make up for it, or it automatically processes that for you. So it's like, okay, the sound is there, you don't have the smell, you have the sight, like you have at least 2 out of the 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like your body is like, oh, that feels good. Like so
yes.
when we talk about the feeling of like when I click and I can feel it,
Yep.
that's what it means. So I'm with you, man. I think when you hit that snipe just right, there's some games that just nail it, and
Yep.
Delta Force definitely has captured it.
100%. Plus, like you know that you ruined their day.
It's nothing like running through a forest just to get domed and have to go back. Like,
Right? I know how terrible that feels, so when I do it to someone else, the dopamine strike is incredible. All right, A's already going down here. Nice push. Now, we did see the counter retake last time around. Does the defense have what it... He's dead.
yes, they do. Based upon how that went. Oh, just kidding. He's back in the action. Oh. Poor guy cannot, like, that's also something that's a little BM too, is like when you're a support class and you just see a guy out there that just keeps getting fragged over and over, and you're like, I'm gonna keep reviving you, man.
Yeah.
These are points for me. Just keep going down. I got you.
Honestly, hold that peak. I'll stand here behind the box and pick you back up. You peek it again.
You'll get them eventually or not.
Yep.
It doesn't
Just
matter.
bring an M249, have some fun.
Also seen a lot more vehicle action this time around.
Yeah.
We have seen a couple in our previous with Group A and B where people are using that to push these zones really quickly. So it does look like they have officially captured Zone A. So if you're on defense, you're forced back. If not, they can see you and easy way to mow them down. And if you don't get back to that zone in time, you just get eliminated and you have to respawn. So
it feels like they're using their vehicles more aggressively. I felt like last time it was almost like they were used for respawns or transitioning. Here it feels like they're taking the tanks in to try to clear space.
Yeah, a lot of it also has to do if they're willing to be patient. So there is like vehicles that obviously don't have as much armor. They're pretty lightweight, but they are mobile. They're very maneuverable. So I think what we saw in the first time when it was Group A and B, Group A is just like, hey, let's run immediately down this line. Let's make sure we get their flank. And it worked initially, but they couldn't sustain it. You did also see someone on that B squad in Group B immediately RPG, so they couldn't use it for respawn. So it was a really good counter play that we saw in the highlights. This time around, tank, a little bit stronger, a little bit more armor. Yeah, I'm going to mosey my way in and click some people.
It's B2 already gone.
Wow, that's a fast capture.
It's very fast. Honestly, it felt like they got here while the other team was regrouping still. There was almost no defense. I mean, B1's under assault too, like as we speak. It's hard to retake when you're about to lose B1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, as long as well, you got to check your angles, buddy.
Yep. Oh, that little window? I would worry about that little guy. So much smoke. I love
it looks
that
like a
drone.
pretty heavy push from B1-2 here. You see him on the northwest side of your screen. Like they are flanking a little bit wider, just trying to hold it down.
My goodness. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade that pistol when I get out of here tonight.
Yeah, the G13, I think it is. It's the automatic one. As soon as you get those weapon tokens, just max it out, and then you don't have to worry about any other pistols.
Makes sense. G13. You heard it here first, folks.
Or is it the G18?
Oh no, there can't possibly be two. That one called the 13 and one called the 18.
Whatever the one is fully automatic. That's the one you want.
I heard. Fully automatic pistol, people.
You can just strafe and hold left click.
Cheeky wraparounds.
I'm still surprised by people using the shotty. S12K, like by all means, it's a great weapon, but like, what happens when you're not in the trenches?
You switch. Remember, you can't change it. So for those of you who are thinking about getting the game, you can change your loadouts, your operators between the live and death cycles. So you're not stuck with what you started with.
You can also create multiple loadouts for the same weapon. So maybe you've got an M4 and you're like, you know what, I'm playing super aggressive. I want to get in the trenches. You can do more of a hip fire, red dot type style.
Red dot,
or
short
you
barrel.
can build another loadout where it's long range. Put a 3X on it. Long barrel.
Oh, long barrel, nice stock. Maybe some purple grips. The customization.
I will say, dude, it is insane how many attachments you can put on these guns, though.
Yep, and that you can calibrate each and every one of them is wild to me.
The first time I did it and like load up the weapon, I saw how many attachment sections there were. I was like, I'm overwhelmed. Like, and then I realized how much I could like customize my gun and make it literally exactly how I wanted it, like fine tune literally everything. And I was like, ah, this is sick.
On that token, though, it does seem overwhelming at first, but I've come from a lot of extraction. They found a really good way to simplify it. So it seems like you are spoiled for choice, but that choice transfers between guns very easily, right? So it's not as dense as other games from this genre that we've played, where there's 600 attachments. The color system to help you sort of know what you're getting yourself into is also incredibly helpful. I've been impressed with how they handled making it feel valuable to modify, but not a game ender for you if you can't.
Yeah, again, there's always going to be that like barrier of entry, a little bit of learning, but it's not so overwhelming to the fact that it like turns you away from it. So yeah, just trying to slowly ease away in. Got to be a little bit careful. Again, as long as they have people on the point, it should deny the pushback for B2. Yeah, defense doing a pretty good job, man.
Yeah.
Because they did finally get B1, but That's because everybody else pushed onto B2. So they got B2 back. Again, if your defense, 300 lives is what you're trying to hold out on one zone. It's going to be tough.
That is tough. All right, looks like they're making their move on B2, though. This could be the attack. Advance. We got to C last time, or did we end in B here?
No, we ended in B for both. For our only time we got to watch when it was Group A on offense, Group B on defense. So they do get the capture. You can see it on the screen. So here's a prime example. This person was on the defensive side, so it tells them they have 25 to 30 seconds to extract. If they don't, they automatically die. And vision-wise, wall hacks for the offensive team. So everybody who's on the attacking side can see exactly where that person is. So the nice thing, they do get a couple kills before they get out, but now they're going to respawn. They're going to go on the back. And then now time to defend C. I will say this is where tanks and stuff come in handy because all these buildings are destructible. So
just you blow them up.
Yeah, just blow up a hole in the you know, what is quote unquote hard cover. Not anymore.
That makes sense. It feels Leali, man. Uh-oh.
Move there.
Right? All that work. Pulled out the javelin, put it away, called out some shots, did a little point and check, and then head domed.
It's the way she goes sometimes, man.
It does. All right, so we're already progressing through the first C cap here.
I'll say this one is kind of a pain too. Primarily just because of where it is. There's a little warehouse that's across the street as well that a lot of people like to post up on. If you play it right, I think you can go on top of the building as well with a peak. There's also a hill on the back side of that too, so just like pushing in, you have to use a line of cover. But if you get rid of that cover with, you know, tanks and RPGs and stuff with your javelins, it's a little bit more difficult to do. I like pushing the west side a little bit more just because you do have a why can't I think of the word? Not like a ridge or like a hill. But,
Defilade?
Yeah, defilade. Thank you. I haven't used that since I casted PUBG.
Yep. It's a good one. It's a winner. That had to have been one of my favorite. When PUBG first came out, a special operations guy wrote up like a treatise on hard cover, soft cover, defilade usage, etc. And it was probably one of the best things I've ever read. He was like, listen, I spent some time in the military and I wanted to write this out because my team's using it. I think it's hilarious. And it was really good.
It's one of those Reddit posts that you can never forget.
Yep. You're like, wow. He's like, what did you drink tonight? But that was a great post, sir.
Every once in a while you get like the very stereotypical like, hey, memes, this, that, or the other. But then you get someone who like put actual proper thought and attention into it. And it gets received one of two ways of like, wow, look at this nerd, or two, like, that was very insightful. Thank you. And you just never know which one is going to be on the side.
Yep. Yeah, you're always a nerd in that response. It's like, thanks, nerd, or get a life, nerd. But either way. And deep down, we appreciate it both ways.
100%.
All right, Bisco. Evermore, evermore, evermore. Sector C captured. This is going very differently than the first time we watched.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, if you can get past that initial trench and P zone, like, it opens up pretty quick.
Yo, you guys are dying. Yeah, they got surrounded.
Yeah,
like
so
locusts.
this next one's almost impossible to defend, I feel. I will say there is a backside of this hill that if played right, you can definitely do a little bit of cheekiness with the bushes and the foliage and play defense. But it seems like attacking team, again, the difficulty is because how fast they push. They're back at their original token count.
I would say they're back at respawn, Max. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been very convincing play from them.
That is
Evermore
nuts.
just running around with his vehicle. Man, he's just gonna push right through. What a psycho.
Yep. Yikers. Come back. If you guys are starting for the first time, you heard the recommendations a little bit in the last interview. I would also just say grab Stinger and go to res. Like, just have fun running around resing people and learn everything else as you go. Tons of points, lots of experience gain for your battle passes. And you don't get shot as often.
Yeah, I think in games like this too, like, sure, there's meta weapons and this and that that may give you a little bit of an edge, but everything is relatively balanced. If you want to snipe, hey, snipe. Like, sure, you may not be as impactful for your team, realistically, unless you're landing every single shot and you're cracked. But for But I think you can pick and choose however you want to play, and it's pretty viable.
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's any one way that you should or shouldn't. Like, sure, there's optimal things that you can do, but no, seriously, I think at the end of the day, this game really captures the have fun idea.
Yep. I agree with that 100%. Look at that smoke wall. It's just moving across the map. How do you do that?
That's when you were talking about with Operator yesterday, where you have to click and hold the button, then you can like swing it.
Yeah, but it was like he somehow had it moving horizontally, which was kind of cool. It's like you can curve it normally, but the way that he curved it made it look like it was moving in the opposite direction. It was a very nice curve.
And they retook that. They did a really good job on that counter push. Holy.
Almost killed me.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, you.
That
How are
checks
you
out.
alive? How
Right?
are you? Oh.
Ah! But you fought hard, Lunbar. You fought hard.
Little excessive on your call out there, buddy. But you know.
Right? But Tao is just having a great time with that car. He just ran over 2 men. Patao.
So usually when I play this map, if I can, I try to flank super wide on the left side, and then get it to that camp.
Get into D2 when everybody's over here.
Yep. And then we just flank from there. Nice.
That was cool. Vehicles like that stung a little, I guess.
Yeah. Something touch us? The mosquito?
Right? Oh.
That is one way to siege an area that you need to get.
Huh. Oh, the airdrop, they're airstriking it too. Sheesh.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're getting much out of that airstrike anyway.
No. I think they blew up one of their own tanks.
Be advised, enemy troops are attacking objective Delta 2.
So only 2 more left. The last push is all uphill, and then it's a base at the top.
Okay.
If you can push through into the base and put a respawn beacon down,
Yeah,
I don't
Done.
cap the point. I just farm kills.
that makes sense.
I am not nice about it. You have a cheeky angle peak on the 2 respawn areas, and you just farm.
Oh,
And then
really?
and then you put in that it's not a tactical nuke. It's like a fancy air barrage.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a big boy one that goes through buildings, and then you just like, okay, I get an entire squad wipe a few times. Life is good. Now I'll
That's
capture.
wild. And everybody on this team is sticking that right now. We just got to get to the last one, man.
Yeah, they're a little bit more active with what it
Yeah.
seems like their buys are. Like, I just avoid doing vehicles and all that kind of stuff altogether unless I absolutely have to. Like, if we're being pinned down, but if I've got a convincing win like this where it's like, yo, we still got 300 lives, no problem. I'm holding on to all my points.
Makes
'Cause I
sense.
think it's like 20k. I think the respawn beacon's like 8. Tank
I
is
gotcha.
is like 12, something like that.
And they need to get these guys out of there. The survival of what is that? Lassic and
still alive?
Brainax? These guys are just survivors. They bought time for everyone to come back in. That was crazy.
It's a really clutch play.
I don't know how they survived. That little smoke ring was huge. What? Oh, now I know what you did. Clever. Boost jump.
Yeah, I was like, fall damage is gonna be a problem here, and I'm like, wait, never mind.
Never mind. Fall damage, I scoff at it. Sector D is down. We're out of here. Oh, that's a rock.
Don't know if you got that vehicle trade or not. Did get C4 though. Well played by Evermore.
Yep. I like the cut to clip of him just running away giggling.
Yeah. Literally frolicking.
Yeah, he
As throws
frolicked it.
C4.
It worked! Hee hee.
That's exactly
All
what
right.
Evermore sounds like.
Fine.
I'm a regular viewer of his chat.
Nice.
Yep. I would never lie on stream to you.
That's funny.
So last zone, you can either go through what is like a winding mountain pass on the left,
Okay.
which is not ideal. You can go underground, which is really far left. or you can go straight up the gut on the right. But there's definitely some mountains, some hills, and stuff like that. So it is definitely a high ground versus low ground type mentality. Vehicle's really important on this one.
So with 397 on the tokens, though, they're almost backed up full again. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
It's
plenty
an
of time to work
insane
with.
amount of tokens, yeah.
So yeah, this player's giving a pretty good idea of it. Deciding to respawn, so might have a teammate with a vehicle somewhere else. Is probably a better idea. So 2 facilities, one on the right, one on the left. This is the right one. The left one you can kind of see over to the side there. They've got some like anti-air, like gunners and stuff like that too. But
That guy played World of Tanks.
yeah, I mean credit to the defense right now holding this cliff edge.
The tank jukes by the gentleman in the brown tank in the back have been fun to watch.
And then
Lock Eagle.
Send it, buddy. Send it.
I'm coming.
When I talk about up the gut, that is exactly what I mean. Like just tank on his right, a whole war on his left. He's like, I'm gonna go this way.
Dude, Apostendato is getting a lot of kills off of that tank, though. Not anymore.
Yeah.
That was cheeky, though.
Yeah, almost got away with it. At the end of the day, like if I'm on attacking side, getting rid of that tank is huge.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the guns that Enders was talking about. Was that the C19?
Yeah. C19.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing from Dead Dog.
359 still on their resources. That's crazy. And they're already starting the cap.
Dude, offense
I
is
just love
doing really well, man. They're pushing this so
I know.
aggressively, and it's working out.
Hey, up the gut.
This is the window I'm talking about when you get inside. So it's like you can just see. So that's front door. You have a spawn point straight back there, and then another one to the left. Most people don't come in from the front gate on the right because that's where your attackers are coming from. So you just camp this and just farm, and like you put up a redeploy beacon up there and just enjoy. As long as you don't have to watch about stairs push, and the fact that these guys are using recon the right way, pretty threatening.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm very familiar with that window. From my zero damn time.
Shoutouts to the observers, by the way, giving us this wide POV. Tells you kind of where everybody is, where the focal point. Like you can literally see, like you can draw a line in the sand type, and be like,
and also,
hey,
it also
this offense is defense.
That's what it feels like to be MacArthur. Just get to stand here and look down on this battlefield, see all the strategic choices everyone's making. Oof.
Ooh, that was clutch.
Now that's a great place to park a car.
Where'd they put that beacon?
Is that it back there? Underneath behind
that's
that's a resupply, yeah.
Yeah, that's a resupply. I'm trying to think of where they put the beacon.
What are you doing? Stop, he's already dead.
Oh my gosh, you just found a lot of friends.
Yeah, he did. And he wants to kill them all.
You just see the immediate, okay, flick, gotta dodge, gotta, you know, hide my head, like.
Ooh.
Our forces are well prepared. Push forward.
Top of the
Going for
building.
the roof.
We're gonna flank here.
But Tao's just parked in there and runs people over whenever they turn the corner. Literally all he's doing.
It's so toxic.
It's super toxic. The second they turn, they're like, oh, I'll go this way, car.
Ooh, nice heady.
Who will I run over next? I mean, it gives a respawn, right? And it's out of combat.
He's getting a ton of respawn points. And the cool thing about it is, like, tank is as like a vehicle, he's covered from both sides.
Yep.
If someone gets close, he drives forward and backwards and runs them over. And then the other side too is like it immediately kicks, because the teammates, when they get out of the vehicle, they have nowhere to like go. It just kicks them further away.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's super.
Little spawn.
They finally got the car, I think.
Yeah, like we blinked and all of a sudden it's taken over by defense.
Right? Well, I did see
Barrage-
4 guys
barrage
go
incoming.
running into that spot with grenade launchers.
Here comes a barrage.
Ooh.
And Winter is fragging, man.
Yeah. 14 minutes left. They've lost about a less than sorry. They were at almost 400 when they started this push.
Yeah.
359, I think.
Again, I do like watching Winter here because a lot of times people are like, okay, I got my kill, I'm gonna move forward, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just gonna keep covering my angles, slowly doing because of how fast people redeploy, you just cannot push that aggressively. So
Yep. You just gotta keep holding until the group moves as a huge unit.
yep.
Yike. Much explosions. You don't get to come up here. This is the same building from Zero, Dan.
Yep.
Artillery barrage
Love
incoming.
that.
Is that Uno? Yeah, Una, I think that was.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuff that you have to hope for defenses. Like, sure, everybody's trying to defend the point, but you do need some of those people that are going to flank out and just try to attack and distract them a little bit. Like, sure,
Yeah.
you get 3-4 kills. It's enough to just slow them down momentarily.
That was cool.
That's the big one, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
Strategic beacon
Whoa.
deployed.
So yeah, the difficulty is like,
Yeah.
right?
Look
You're
how
like,
fast
okay,
they're
we're on
capping
our
now.
last couple of respawns. We're almost there. We got it. And then you see one of those drop. And like, if you've got a team that's like, so
Yeah,
when we were
they
playing
haven't recovered.
Rivals, yeah, when we were playing Rivals, focus on those guys. They had 3 chained back to back to back. So we would get in there, we'd respawn. We have to get back to the point. You know, if we don't, they're gonna capture it.
Yep.
Wiped again, and like, there's nothing we could do. It was so evil.
They can't stop the cap. Well, they did.
Yeah.
They slowed it down for a minute. Just for a minute.
It's halfway.
Attention.
They do have numbers advantage. But again, if you're
Another
defense,
one.
this is where your counter barrage comes into play, right?
Yep.
But notice how a lot of them aren't staying. So the cap zone is right next to the building too. But because it's such a wide zone, it's nice to be able to stay on the backside by where all these like power units and stuff are.
Yeah, yeah. More
Oh, there it is. Oh, we got so many. Look at that kill feed.
That was Varuz.
We just got like 10 kills.
Abused.
So that's 10 kills. You get objective bonuses on that. You then get a kill streak
Sheesh.
bonus. Like, dude, those are still coming in. Look at that feed.
Wow. Oh,
Here
another
comes
one
another
from the
one.
opposite
Yeah.
side. No, it's Varuz again. That's Varuz's second one.
Nah, stars this time.
I got one. Varuz is like, did you watch my video?
And then you're supposed to put it here.
Yeah, he dropped 2 and got 10 on, like 10 plus on the first one, easily 7 or 8 on the second.
That death noise is so good.
The drop shots for days.
Beacon deployed.
I mean, credit where it's due, man. It's 250 tickets down,
Yup.
and they still haven't gotten the cap yet.
Yeah,
they were
the battle.
halfway. They were halfway in their favor, and it's completely gone the other way.
Yep. I mean, there was one point where I thought they had the cap, but they almost finished it, and just the counter push was too strong. What a wild last fight. More explosions.
Roger that. Artillery barrage incoming. Halfway through the operation.
Such a good placement too. Like, got plenty of resupplies here.
Yep.
You know, there's somewhere there. Where are they? There, yeah, sure. Just blind fire into it. You'll get some. Oh, another one.
Assist leader.
The situation is critical. Stand your
There was a firefight.
That movie brings me back.
Right? I just have this visual of him screaming it, and then 20 minutes later being like,
"Oh man!"
and it's still going.
Yeah. Maybe it's one guy with 6 guns.
Right? There's still a fire. One guy with 6 guns.
Would there be one guy with 6 guns? Oh, God. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. It was like a high school staple for some people in my friend group.
That was a good one. It's a classic.
Yo. Probably older than most people in chat. You know, it is what it is.
Say, wait, what'd you say?
This movie's probably older than most people in chat. That's the way it goes.
I don't think so. I think you underestimate the base player age of this game.
I do think Delta Force is definitely an older player base.
Yeah.
At least I would hope.
It's honestly, I think it's been one of the best parts. Like I've worked in like games like PUBG for a while, and I really enjoy like slightly older player bases. Ooh.
There's a big one. Who?
Did he get? Oh wow, Pat Rastalem.
Roger that. Artillery barrage incoming.
Dude,
Oh, here
they
comes
hold
some more.
on. They're sub 100, man. I can't. If they actually do this,
They might do this.
So there's
What
the
a
buy
hold.
menu. It's this person's got what, 23K? Is that how much it costs to call the big boy, big bomb?
$72.
This is our last position. Secure it. All go.
Honestly, it feels kind of like they just gave up on rezzing.
I mean, it's difficult because
Yeah.
it's like you see, look how much green there is here, but still no one on the point to actually go cap.
Yeah. It's because of this window.
Dude, someone's got to make a play. We're getting down to the wire. I can't believe they've held on for 340 kills.
What? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't
Here
make
comes
sense.
another one. Here comes another one.
Ooh.
I mean,
Mint
credit where it is
fatty.
due.
That was a mint fatty.
I'm just saying, every time the defense holds out another 15, 20 kills, like that
Yeah.
reality sets in, and I think they can do it, man. I thought it was all but over with how well offense was playing, but if they like, they're running out of time, man.
Winch is like, I can't do it all myself.
Like, you know what? A tank. Let's bring in a tank, and the defense is like, well, we also have a tank.
Right? 36 region. Oh man.
That's the last thing I want to do when I angle peek. see a car with a
Right.
machine gun on the back. And you're like,
Pointed at you. You're like, yeah, pass. Not today, maybe.
The objective march. Regroup and take it down.
29.
Ooh, okay. So there goes their vehicle. Front gate, they've got pretty good defense on. Everybody in that building just has to find a way to push out, but that silo just
Yeah.
such a
that
good
silo's
respawn point with that
huge.
silo. That guy's literally just prone, just letting everybody come in.
That's wild.
Careful, Rich. Don't step in the fire. Dude, they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna do it. There's no way.
Oh, I don't know. Is there a big boy? Is there a rocket barrage
Oh.
coming?
Who's the prone? Who's the prone gamer that's capping for his team right now? Because the capture, so like you see where the E is,
Yeah.
like where those little barricades and stuff are right there. You have to be on basically the inside of that. Could be. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, hopefully you pull your shoot.
13
Oh
left. 13 left. They did it. The question is, do you think that they knew how long they could? And they were farming.
No, there's no way.
They were farming, bro. They're
There's
farmers.
no
They're farmers, bro. This was Stardew Valley. I promise you. Farmers. Just wait.
I don't think you let it be that perfect down to the wire. It's way too risky. There's too much money on the line. I don't think that was...
It felt like maybe there was some farming till about 170, and then things went badly. like,
You're like, all right, we got 400 tickets. We can each die 17 times.
I'm just
then we
saying.
need to take it seriously.
Well, but if you were like, you know, let's slow the push, let's get some kills, and the other team manages because the problem was their other team built up at least 3 or 4 of those, what do you call them, mortar strikes, like aerial.
Perfect.
the big boy, as you called it, and that's why they got countered so many times, right? They were getting counter big boy. You know, unless you are, what was the guy who used to sing with Big Boy? Speaker Box. Andre 3000. Unless you're Andre 3000, Big Boy doesn't always work for you. That was a good one.
Hey, man.
That was fun. That last
When
one was fun.
When I did the F1, Big Boy performed, and I'm like, what are we doing here, man? He was on our side stage and stuff, so we got to hang with him a little bit. Really nice dude, but everybody doesn't realize like the two separated are still individual artists that are both very talented.
Yep.
So when he performs, everybody's like, oh, that's who that is.
Yep.
You just don't know him by that name.
When they released the double CD, everybody went, "Oh my gosh, Big Boy! He's not. It's not just Andre 3000 anymore." For those of you who are curious, talking about Outcast, the album was The Love Below and Speaker Box. It's a duel. It's a concept album. You guys don't even know what that is anymore. God, I miss concept albums. Anyway, we won't get into that. If you guys want to hit us up for stream sometime, Lawler and I can talk to you all about how CDs were built from track 1 to track 12 to play a story. And give you a concept the whole way
take
through.
a step back. We'll go to the A track way back, and then really take it. I had one of our like big content creators in the scene that's like my mainstay. He was listening to some like Bryce Vine single or something. He's like, we were talking about like Walkmans. He's like, that's what that is, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go. Like, I can't be here.
Yeah, no, I been there. I remember the line for the first iPad, or what was it called? iPod. We don't get into it. That was a great game, though. The last hold was desperate, and upsides, we probably didn't have that long of a break to wait through because the other lobby had to have finished before us. There's no chance to get it down to 3 minutes and what, 17 tokens.
Yeah, it's crazy how much contrast we've had because in our first round on offense on that map, it was like, hey man, you're not getting past. Like, this is just where it's over for you. And there was glimmers of hope, but the difference is that early in the game, you just don't have the air barrage, the really big like tactical nuke type stuff all built up yet. So it's like, do you try to saving grace and get a vehicle that allows us to go for that flank or play from that different position? And the answer is no, you don't. And too bad you lose. So yeah, very different, but we still have another match left. Kind of focusing in on that. We will be going back to our other map. We're going to see C&D swap positions. We get to see the guys that were on defense that unfortunately were so close to holding on but couldn't quite. See what they can do on offense. We get to see that bounce back. Should be a lot of fun. But a couple names obviously we got to pay attention to are the ones that are easily the ones dropping the big air barrages and stuff like that are wiping teams at a time. Because even though it's like, sure, you drop that, you got a bunch of points and a bunch of kills. There's a reason why you were able to do that. It's because you were performing well throughout the entire round. Yeah,
like I was at Kinsey, I think, that hit that like double and just got an insane amount of points. And only because he had already gotten a amount of points. Now, someone else we should talk about name-wise is Lord Byrne. Shout out to dropping a Zune reference.
I had the Gears of War one. And
dropping a Zune is dangerous because it could break your toe. I'm just saying. Dropping that Zune reference is top tier. Well done, sir. It was actually a superior product. It did not get the love it deserved. It was.
It was great. I had one of those in high school. There's that little like the Hex game or whatever. So many hours that I should have been paying attention, and I was not. It all started. It was all downhill from there.
It was. I
or
remember
uphill.
Snake on my Kyocera, and everything changed after that. I don't even remember. No, uphill is bad. Downhill is good, unless you get the speed wobbles. Then downhill is very bad. All right, so we are
don't mess around, dude.
Bro, I got
gravity is undefeated. That's all I'm saying. Like,
I longboard speed wobbled to Total Hamburger, doing about 30, between 26 and 30-ish. Was that, you know, when you're in high school and your friend follows you in their car and they're like, "We're gonna clock this hill," and I remember that I didn't get it. Last time I got on a skateboard, I literally missed so bad. But anyway, enough about me. We're waiting for just a second. Our teams are getting ready. We're going to have a short break, tally all the scores. We need a little bit of time before we can do that. I don't think everyone was quite ready for how long or close this one was going to be. So we're exploring options.
Yeah, well, it looks like we spoke too soon, and it is time for a break, I'm pretty sure. Production can cut me off if that's not the case. But I'm going to try to throw to one, and when we come back, it's our fourth and final round, guys. Don't go anywhere. Delta Community Force Tournaments. Stay tuned.
Catch it.
Bravo captured. Keep neutralizing all enemy. Strategic beacon deployed. Strategic beacon deployed. Roger that. Artillery barrage incoming.
Everybody, welcome back to Delta Force Community Tournaments NA edition here for Warfare. We got one round left. Lawler and Toffee's holding it down, and a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes during the break. We appreciate you guys sticking around with us, talking about some of the old school stuff that makes us feel better, like Zunes and LimeWire and Napster and the whole list. Talking about like Netscape and all these other fun browsers before we got what we did. Dude, it takes me back. It's a good time to share with everybody. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But as we take a check in at our best squads for the semifinals here, match number 3, it is the one and only Butter
coming out with a good win. They're going to be very happy, and they really on the back of Veruzzi. That's who it was. Hit that double big boy, as you called it, to get himself up to 78 kills.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I think it's. I mean, doesn't matter. The Big Bertha, the game ruiner, the life crusher. Love got 84 though, and I did not see Love hit any of those massive ones. So he was just doing great support. And the Patau, that's the guy that we saw just driving around in the tanks, having a ball blowing people up. His World of Tanks play was excellent.
I mean, you can see the difference here too for Varuz, despite being, not the kill leader and still being, towards the top and competitive. That kill, all the objective points, everything is straight to the top. Rasta was also one of those that was dropping the counter as well when people were trying to get the capture and denied it. Honestly, probably the reason why defense won that game.
Wait. Yeah, defense. No, attacking.
No, offense.
Attackers
I lied.
Offense.
Defense almost won that game. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I forgot a word.
That I forget words sometimes. So Love got 4 points. And going to come away with a good there. Best kills. Rasta with 80 on a good defense. But again, the attackers just continuing to just play that pure aggression style. And like you said, once they had that building up on top, it seemed like they were just unstoppable up there.
Yeah, kind of taking a look at where things are balancing. Because again, that was our first exposure to the first times with Group C and D. You do have Butter with 2 in the top 3, which I think is a pretty big deal for kills.
CF has 3.
But yeah, like you're saying, CF, like right in the middle of the pack, consistently across the board, all supporting each other. I mean, having all 4 of your members in the top 10 for assists, I think is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of gun spam. What else would get you that many assists? Is that healing that gets you? Do you get assists for putting out heals as well? Like if you
assists is, I don't think.
I used to tag. You have to tag the person, right?
Yeah, I think it has to be like fire and stuff. It can't be like, hey, I assisted you're staying alive, therefore I get credit for the kill. I don't think it works like that. So, yeah, it's a lot of fragging.
If action per minute is the name of their team, I think the #1 action that they perform on that team is reses. 65 and 60 on the same squad. That's a squad who's counting on, like, they probably put 2 fraggers, 2 resers, and we're like, okay, you 2 go out and get us the points to advance.
I mean, realistically, when you're talking about how far those tickets can go, when you've got people that are basically doubling the lives of your team, that's actually kind of insane.
I mean, that's kind of, you talk about, they kept going back to 400 after every phase, right? Like, these guys got 100, they saved 105 of those tickets between the 2 of them. And they only won by 13, so without those 2, game goes different ways.
Well, take a look at the overall standings. This is a culmination of all things, not just kills and assists, but also revives, how you played the objective, capturing and not. And it is Butter on top, 317,000 and a little bit of change. Behind them, certified fraggers, and then the name you enjoyed, Shooters and Scooters.
Shooters and Scooters.
So. Barely ahead. Look at that difference between 3 and 4.
Look at that. Look how big D is, though. They got 5 of their teams are advancing as of right now. And they're okay. Maybe not their last team. Their last team, I think,
one
not
who's
so
a punching bag.
Yeah. Well,
someone's got to be the anchor, man. It's okay. Every friend group has that one friend that's like, hey, man, leaderboard, you're gonna be on the bottom today and tomorrow.
Old Doyle Brunson. There's always a fish at the table, and if you can't figure out who that fish is, it's you.
No, it's the reality of how things go. Taking a look at the overall standings, though, back on top, you even saw some guys giving them love in the chat. It is the Foreheads, Enders, and Focus on the Boys, looking pretty dang good over in Group A and B as the competition rolls out, building a little bit of a buffer as well going into the last and final round.
Yep, get that buffer up. Remember, the top 6 teams from each of our group combinations will make that advance. Foreheads, though, I mean, it would be really hard to lose the buffer, right? Like unless you were playing a side that just got completely lambasted, it seems like you would just be able to progress at the same speed as whoever's chasing you in that sort of 6th place position. Because for the forehead to get knocked out, they've got to lose 3,000 plus.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty difficult. I mean, they're averaging a really solid score. You're talking, what, 21? So they're averaging like 70K per round by default. So as long as the 4 players 70K each, I don't want to do math on stream. It's a bad idea.
Don't do it. Never do it.
But based upon how they're playing, so the guys are averaging anywhere from like 15 to 18K a piece.
Yep.
Which is pretty dang good. I said 20K is a really good round, so I'm sure they've had some higher or lower based on if they're on offense or defense. But everybody going here to Shafted for the last one. We do see a little bit of a switch up here for Group D, who now gets to go on the offensive side and seeing if they can make their impact. They were so close.
Yep.
So close on defense last time, but just 400 was too much. If only it was 380, whatever the math is. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It was those gosh darn rezzers. That was the issue. Okay, they brought too many men back to life. All right, so here we go. Participating players is who takes the field for Group C. Then obviously Group D will be up against them as well. Look for your favorite team. Again, we don't recognize all these players, so if you know someone that you think is a baller, let us know so that we can direct people over to take a look at them. Butter up here in Group D, one of our top performing teams. Who was the Rez? The Rez team was from...
I'm trying to think of names that I recognize from the board. Stars was up top. Obviously, we saw Varuz drop one. Dead Dog had some pretty silly moments in the buildings. And
Lucky was up there a bit.
Was also peeking, and then all of a sudden it's an RPG, and you're like, maybe not a good idea. Evermore was part of it too. So a couple stables here, but I think that's the best part about the semifinals. Obviously, we're getting to broadcast and showcase these guys on the broadcast, but it all comes down to Grand Finals day. We have Grand Finals tomorrow for our operations game mode. We get to see some familiar faces, which is going to be absolutely hype. We were talking to some of our interviews yesterday with Stomper and stuff, and it's like, hey, man, it's the best of the best next time. So you're already talking about how it's exciting to see this evolution and this adjustment period with everybody. But now you're going to do it against the guys who are the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. So very excited to see that as well. Grand Finals of that tomorrow, and then the day after on Sunday, after I watch the wonderful football game, it is going to be the Grand Finals for Warfare.
Is it the Super Bowl next week?
No, definitely. Oh, you poor thing.
Hey man, I used to watch football. Then I got into esports.
Yeah, I'm a degen and I do both.
There's just not enough time between that and my love of reality TV shows like Survivor and The Challenge. I just can't watch them all.
First year ever watching Survivor was this year for me. Great stuff.
Because you know Rome.
That and what is it? Amazing Race.
Amazing Race that my wife and I have watched together since the beginning.
Dude,
did you watch Survivor because Rome was on it?
So my significant other's parents absolutely love it and binge it like crazy, and it's been like what 47 seasons of Survivor now, and I was like, I have never seen it. I do know Rome. Like, if anything, I'm curious. Like, I'm just curious on what the show is about because I don't know how it plays. I don't know the rules, and apparently they always change, which is no different than this. This is going to be ever evolving. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think that. And then when I did Formula One the last 2 years, one of our co-commentators, Connor Daly, IndyCar driver, he was in season like 30 something. So we watched it just for that reason because we're like, oh, we know someone in it, and like, that's such a good show. Such a good show.
It is. One day when you're truly bored and there's nothing happening, you should go back and watch like 1, 6, 14, because there's like 12 eras of the show where the game changes because the players figure it out. The meta changes, and it's super cool. All right, so now we're jumping down the tube. That was a insanely fast take of A. Last time it took a lot longer to A cap.
Yeah, I think the difference is people have kind of got one under their belts. Very familiar. They've been exposed to it. The other side, too, is I do think the teams that start on defense have a bit of advantage going into offense the second time around.
Listen, chat, I did watch 90 Day Fiancé once for a season, and it was a little too much for me, but I respect the appeal. I respect the appeal.
It's great. My significant other is all about like horror movies and stuff like that. And although she's super in tune with like pop culture and everything, she does not watch any of that like garbage stuff. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful. Like,
Yo.
I'm so happy.
Long-term meaningful relationships have come from those shows. Okay, we don't have to call them garbage, Adam.
Not quality entertainment.
True. Now back to quality entertainment. Look at that guy, got his head smoked. That was a good spray. All right, so last time we got here, this is where the bottleneck got it real bad, right? They locked him down for a while here. It feels, honestly, it feels like our attacking team is already farther progressed at this point than honestly I expected. They've already taken the platforms.
Yeah, the difficulty here is, so obviously these hallways are absolutely stacked. There's so many people staggered that you really have to push through in a war of attrition. But if you can find that one big flank, all it takes is one person to kind of crack the armor.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, great play from Duz here, understanding, hey, there's gonna be people that are trying to do the same as us. They're gonna take this wide angle and everything, and if they can get there, it completely neutralizes our respawn capabilities here. Because again, the only reason they can sustain this offense is if there is players to redeploy to. Otherwise, they've got to go back and respawn from spots, which is like, that's an extra like 15-20 seconds of running in. It allows the offense to push up and get in really cheeky positions. Like, it's pretty important. So them finding a flank here is actually really clutch.
Wow.
Shots. Keep it going. There's another.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Why did I even say uh-oh?
Got the schmovement. What's crazy is, okay, so he shoots that guy on the right-hand side, right? Doesn't get the kill. Still engages, fights 2 more people down, and then doesn't expect to get repeaked.
Hey, he knew the guy had to heal, I guess. That's wild.
That's why I'm repeaking.
Maybe he thought he was going to possibly go down, so he just tried to like get as many assist points as, I don't know. That's wild. But that's just, no, that's confidence. That's Bison. The range on it was impressive too.
Reload.
Yeah.
All right, so B2 cap, they are defending it quite well. Looked like a little bit of emphasis. I don't know who made the call, but good job to them, able to counter push that, deny it. So nothing quite yet. God, you can just tell how chaotic it is.
It's
also
insane.
The name Mint Fatty. Like, how am I supposed to say that seriously?
I don't think you can. We saw Mint Fatty do something awesome in the last game. What did he do? He went to the high ground.
He jumped off. Yeah, the tower.
That's right.
Like,
yep, that was hot.
Try not to get yourself up.
How do I take Mint Fatty seriously?
Healing in progress. Man down! Man down!
it just seems so silly. Like, Lumber is obviously, like, we talked about it yesterday, that I'm doing my part, and he's just running around shooting his own teammates with a pistol, which, again, sure, it heals them, but it just looks extra goofy. But, like, look at how many points he get, like 1,000 points. Like, that's the difference between some of these teams between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shooting them with the pistol. So you get points for shooting the heal dart at your buddies?
Yep.
Ah.
A lot as well.
My friends, games are going to change.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, playing support, like, if you want a quick way to level, it's the fastest way to do it.
Makes sense. Reses, heals, because that's a lot of heal charges on that gun.
Yep. The benefit of this support class too is, like, when you do your adrenaline stim or whatever you want to call it to get your health back, it's so strong. So this player at 6,500, he does have that respawn beacon. So if he can find a way to either find a flank or kind of like that choke point that's like tucked away behind something, you place that down in a really good position. Not only does your entire team get to flank and you get to play aggressive, but he gets points for every single redeploy back on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a really good way to rack up points in these game modes. Which, at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for is objective score. So
at this point, we're not looking for the big winner, just the survivor at the moment. So get what you can. This hold has been epic so far, but it is rapidly falling apart. As desperate cover for B2.
Yeah, it's going to get tougher and tougher as well because they can push from both sides now.
A lot of people run away from B2 like it's time to go to C already. I does. Oh.
I got it. It is up to stars on the right hand side. And he's gone.
Work. Objective cleared.
So they did get the redeploy here on this backside. So there is 4 there.
Okay.
Again, if they can deny these 2 that we're looking at right now
Yeah.
and push up through there, they should be able to counter and get that flank. And
Nice.
then they should be able to push back off of B2. Respawns are coming in. Poor Batal.
Right.
Gets the kill on 1. There's a wall of smoke. He's like, yeah, I'll push up. And you just get met with 3 or 4.
Hit with the nanobots. There's no tank for him to use this time. He's confused.
Yeah. Yeah, can't really airdrop that one in.
Nope. I'll bet he's tried.
Dude, actually recap in B1.
Oh wow.
No way. Are they going to actually deny this?
Allied forces are attacking objective Bravo 1. Strategic
Play by
beacon
Batal. What do you got? I'm going to wait till he'll just send it.
Nice.
Again, it's just so difficult having to capture both sometimes with how
Yep.
proficient these guys are in these game modes.
I love the slide.
Oh, what a revive. That was so
Yep.
clutch.
The enemy has taken objective.
There it is.
Did they retake? Well done. Well done,
Yep.
man.
B2's going fast. Hold him off that. You gotta hold him at the stairs, man. More arrows, please.
All right, what's the play here? He does. Where are you placing that beacon? I don't think he's dropped it yet.
Yeah. 223 left on the resources. Not terrible. Timer on the game, 12 minutes.
So there is a time limit. It's 30 total that you have to play,
Yep.
or it's tokens. So chipping away pretty good. A little under a third of the way.
You're chipping faster than the clock, so.
Yeah. I mean, we saw how long the last time we were here with the first 2 groups
Yeah.
that final zone in the lab took. In the greenhouse, I think is what it's officially
Yeah.
called. So a little concerning in that regard based on what we've seen so far, but at the same time, different approach, different fight. So
Yep. We'll also see what everybody's saving their money for when we get to that stage. So can you use airstrikes and stuff here?
you can. There is certain places in the ceiling where they will be able to fall through.
But it's not the same.
A lot of it has to do with the lighting. So if you guys are unfamiliar, in some of these hallways, you can definitely see like the moonlight coming in. That is a place where you can definitely use it and get away with it. In the final area as well in the greenhouse, I'm pretty sure there's glass above you, so you can drop it in on that final zone as well.
Okay.
I have lost many a round due to that. Trying to think where else, but yeah, there's a couple spots where you can definitely get away with it, but it sometimes it feels very frustrating because it's like you think you place it right and it just doesn't work. So like all those that are above,
Yeah.
you can definitely go through there.
Huh. Okay. And yes, that was 3 lasers for chat. You can even make them different colors.
Yep. Each one is a different focus based upon if you're doing more hip fire, if you're doing more ADS speed or whatever it is. You can stack them. There's a lot of different ways that you can customize the weapons. Plenty of attachments to pick from, and if that sounds overwhelming, I promise you, it's not. They also have preloaded loadouts for you. So if you're like, oh, I want to just kind of get my feet wet, you can do so. And everything is explained pretty easily, but yeah, it's pretty nice.
Honestly, I think the loadout stuff too is my favorite because both operations and here, it's like it's the modern gaming cycle, right? Like I play with the crew, then I play a little by myself, then I want to like look for something to watch on Netflix while I dick around with the game, right? And so like to me, that's what this one does so well is it's got all of that, and then when I'm done playing for the night, I still sit there and mess with my loadouts, unlock my stuff, modify my weapons while watching a TV show to chill.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice way to do it. I've been playing a lot of like ARPGs and stuff, and it's like it's one of those games that you just play passively.
Yep.
You're futzing about, you're doing your economy and trying to figure out what the heck you want to do, and you know, you got that little bit extra that you can increase your character by. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna passively watch the show. And I think it's nice to have some of those games where it's like, I think where Delta does such a good job is there is definitely the full sweat, I'm locked in, hard commenting with the boys, but they also have the, hey, casuals log in, you know, we'll queue, we'll frag out for 20-30 minutes, and then I'm gonna AFK and go back to pay attention and catch up where I'm at.
Honestly, if they could just add an in-client card game like Slay the Spire, I would never have to leave.
Yeah, what was we were talking back to WoW when they had the what was the game with you drop the ball down and you have to hit all the different, what is that game called?
Blink, not
like it's like Blinko.
I don't know what it was called. I remember it. I don't think I ever played very much of it. The in-game stuff. All right, so we're in the final room. This one was a nightmare for the attackers to get into last time. They're already here and they're already at half. Is that just because they're not falling back fast enough?
It does seem like they're kind of getting overwhelmed or caught off guard by it. You're gonna see, look at all those respawns coming in. It could have been just a transition kill too, where it's like the fact that they already have people ground floor and he is not dead. If he wins that fight, the 1v2, he is able to fend off the initial. Dude, that hipfire is nasty. Even from the range.
That was nuts. IDOS is dominating.
They are.
IDOS good.
There is a very good chance that they've reached this really quickly.
Oh, you hit it. Oh, that's the best. And they take it back to their friends. That's like the old sticky bomb attack.
Yeah. So it seems like they were able to stabilize. Initially, there was some pretty good pushes in there. There was one underneath that I saw that had a 1v1 won it, but it looks like they found him from that. There's like a little area that you can go into and underneath back into the right, depending on which way you're looking at it. And pretty good spot. I usually put my redeploy there if I can, and then I just play defense on it. I literally just proning and let people flood in.
Oh, jumping shotguns.
Oh, man.
That man was dead on the roof.
Still well defended, man.
Yeah.
All right, wave 2. Here we go.
I'll jump. Okay.
Just gets blasted back.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, they're inside.
Okay, he's just got to stay alive and get out of combat. That's it. I wouldn't even re-engage if I was him. I would
I don't know why
just
he's
sit.
re-engaging.
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he just wants to go down. If he can get down there and not be found.
This way.
Oh, no.
Found.
There's so many.
Yep.
Red idea, though, man.
Yep.
Again, they just have to find a way to make sure they're doing. Okay, we do have someone underneath. There you go.
Strategic beacon deployed.
Oh, this could be huge.
Look at
200 tokens is a lot. Wow, they really pushed up in that vent too.
Yeah, they did.
That actually might be their detriment.
Does it push the vent?
Yeah, by pushing into that vent too, like it makes it difficult because if you're too far in there, you can't check the other entry room as well. Oh, that was such a good swarm.
Wow. So does the swarm move in front of you no matter like however you're facing?
Yeah, the like nanobot thing, it also will go around any objectives or any like objects in the way. So say there's a a crate in the way or whatever, it'll climb and go around it. It's a range based thing too.
Gotcha. So if you run with it, it goes farther.
I think so, yeah.
Because it seems like that's what they're doing is they're using it to like push the corner and it's turning with them.
Yep.
When I shoot it, it just goes off on a cool wall. You learn more. Learn something every day.
Yep. Okay, so they do. Is it what's his name? The green guy down at the bottom there who just came up that zip line, which you probably should have stayed down there. If you just stay down there and you let people revive, I think that's the play, man.
Yeah.
Although they are getting a capture here right now.
Oh,
whenever you turn, it just gets worse.
Things went real bad. Yeah, exactly.
Good attempt from Lumber.
That's a tough cap.
Some smoke's coming in. That'll help. They definitely back up. You just saw a full squad come in.
Secure our
That was a
So
long
the
wraparound.
difficulty is, yeah, long wrap around. They're trying to, so that's the vent that they have to worry about. So when you push
Yeah.
too far in, all of a sudden you get flanked and it's like, uh-oh. So it looks like they have control of the main room now. So they're gonna have to give up vent. So that should be a free push in.
My God.
That guy was getting shocked so much.
Right? Shocked and just suppressive fire.
Yeah.
120 rounds of it.
And another one. He got it off.
He got it off. That's all he wanted. He wanted to get all those ticks.
Yep.
They can't hold much longer.
There's just nothing you can do.
Down to 118 on the tokens. I think his name is that Trey Stacks over there. He's been 100% dedicated to making sure no one hides down here. Every time he spawns, he goes straight to the bottom floor and just looks for people.
Strategic beacon deployed.
So that's the low side. This is where I've been trying to hope that they can find a respawn on.
North at 25%. Stay sharp.
It looks like they've got a couple there. Down to sub 100. Defending pretty well.
Yep. Should be about 8 minutes, I would guess. 7 minutes at this point. 12. I was completely wrong. I didn't realize it added more time in between. Does it add more time as well as tokens? No, it's just 30 overall, right?
Yep, just 30 flat.
Take it down.
Damn. You got nanoed. Uh-oh. Oh, the breach is on. Never mind.
Every time I think, I'm like, all right, the tides are turning in their favor, things are
Right.
good, and then it just falls apart. It's like you see everybody who comes out of that, it's an additional 25 points.
Makes sense. It's a great way to get some cash as a defender.
Yeah.
It's like, I will continue to get these points.
Yep.
Oh, there's a lot of green. Attackers pushing the vents again.
Won't die while I'm around.
I bet he will.
Bet he's gonna die in a couple seconds. And
Like,
he's-
yep. And he's dead. Hey, you're a liar. You are a liar, Stinger. But you're my
It's still-
liar.
hey man, I gave him the confidence he needed to push that full W and just get destroy.
He's out just baiting kids into spending their lives. Oh, no. Nice play.
Yeah, it was good to see defense not be afraid to push up a little bit. It's obviously been rewarded rather heavily for them, but
Why the
Yeah.
canted sight over a normal red dot?
I think it's just the way the attachment is.
This is our
I don't know if it's a faster
position.
ADS with
Secure
like the canted might be a replacement for the hip fire.
Oh,
Strategic beacon ready to deploy.
No, there's like a way to you put a riser on it and then
Yeah.
you put the scope on top of that and it actually helps with aim stability.
Beacon
Interesting.
deployed.
There's that flick you were looking for.
Yep. Love a good flick. Love a good flick.
Last couple seconds, see if we can get a couple more kills. 2 left.
2, 1. The defense will hold.
We defend.
Well
Good for
done.
them. Good for
Yeah, it was
them.
very aggressive. We saw similar but opposite results this time.
Yeah.
Where really aggressive push, able to get the first capture almost immediately. They get in. It's a little bit of a fight for B1 and B2, but eventually there is that transition and that switch, and then it's like they went straight to C and then hard stuff.
Nothing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think it's a little easier to defend on the back half of that map.
Yeah.
And they did so, but a lot of points went to the attacking team yet again. Where this is, I think we'll see another round where yes, the defenders won, but we'll see 2 or 3 of them on the leaderboards, and everyone else is going to be those attackers because just body after body, that's all they're going for is trying to crush those souls.
Easier said than done, man. Again, we talk about the defensive side. Sure, it is in their favor. That's the way the map is designed, is kind of your last hold, but You're talking about you got to be on the moment. You got people pushing from the vent. You got people from the low side. You got people from the front door. You got people from the back side of the vent.
Yeah.
It is not easy to do. Plus, you're trying to coordinate, and at the end of the day, it's like you still have 6 individual teams all trying to work together on what they think is the best option. Sometimes that doesn't align, and the reality is if you're on one of those better performing teams, do you really want to win out? You know,
Right.
If you're outperforming everybody else already, like
That's a good point. Especially in that third, fourth game, right? Like,
yeah.
you know where you're at. You just want to get to the grand final, which we will be going over in a little bit. We got the leaderboards tallying, hopefully an interview to go along with it. We'll get you all that stuff as soon as we possibly can. But I'm going to be honest, that was fun to watch and makes me more excited to play, because I will say that, like, as someone who I play the mode, but it's not my bread and butter. It's never really been my bread and butter in other games like it. Talking with you and sort of seeing how these players play it, and this, because to me there's never been strategy, right? Like when I play it, I think it's fun, but it's just chaos, and it feels like being in a war zone. I never really considered the usage of a lot of these items, the depth of being able to purchase sort of the recall beacons and the vehicles and the big mortar strikes. Like, that's something that was way outside of what I normally expect. So I did love watching that, and I think it's hopefully for you guys at home as well, has created sort of a new perspective of how to approach this version of the game.
Yeah, I think it is kind of an interesting balance, because when you come into it, you very much so see it as like I'm going to drop in, I'm going to frag out. It very much so satiates the feeling of just W key go. But there is definitely some depth to it, which I think is good. It's a fantastic and an easy way, kind of like you see in other shooters where it's like the multiplayer, you go and you farm. This is where you level your weapons to get your attachments and stuff like that. And I think Warfare is a really good introduction to what the game could be. But then when you start to understand the mechanics and how the guns work and stuff like that, that's when you can go, okay, let me build my loadout. Let me go into operation. Let's take this a bit more seriously and really figure out like the differences between how we do the difference between how we do like the PvE and the map knowledge and stuff like that, which is really cool. So rather than us talking about what we think and how we feel things went, we're going to bring in and interview our final one of the day. It is the one and only Bisco from Certified Fraggers in Group D. First and foremost, welcome to the broadcast. Good to have you. Number 2. And the big question I have for you is, how are you feeling after all 4 rounds are done now? Where are you feeling? Where are you sitting? What's the confidence levels at? Take us through your perspective of your day in the life of a Delta Force gamer.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good. You know, we're pretty happy with how we played. We played our game, and we focused on just what we knew we were gonna need to do well. And I think we did that. We had 3 pretty good games, 1 okay game, and yeah, we just did what the plan was the whole time. Played our game.
Nice. So I just have to ask out of curiosity, I'm always curious, like I know different countries, different ways to get licenses and registrations. What is the process to becoming a certified fragger in particular? Like, did you have to go through a series of tests, licensing processes? What's that look like?
You're just born with it. It's just something that comes naturally.
See, there was an answer. You're just born with it.
Baby comes out, stamp on the forehead.
Fragger.
Just like that.
I love that. I will ask this. There was a unique aspect of this event that you were playing on a team with 5 other squads, but also playing to beat those 5 other squads. Did that actually play into the way that you guys approached the games at all, or was it pretty much business as usual and hopefully we just outperform the other guys?
Yeah, no, we went in thinking that the game might play a bit differently than, you know, normal matches, but again, we just went in. We knew that if we just played our game, we would do well, and we did. We just tried to win really at the end of the day, because those bonus points are huge, we know, and we managed to do it.
Nice.
Let's dive deeper into that, kind of extrapolate on that. So what was your guys' initial thought process coming in, kind of the checks and balances that you put into place, and then take me through that process as you finally got exposed to it? Okay, we now have these teams. This is the results that are happening. Okay, we've got to adjust and go to defense. What's our thought process? Like, take me through what you guys actually processed through today.
Yeah, so obviously we go in with our plan, how we want to play, and you know that never really goes 100% the way you think it will. And we just look at the game from both a proactive and a reactive stance. just whatever is needed at the time, and we just follow through with it. We stick with what the ideas are on the team. Whoever has a plan, they come up with it. They say, let's do this, and we we don't really question each other. We know that we all know what we're talking about, and we go with it. So if B1 needs help, we go to B1. If we're gonna hit some type of flank, someone calls it out, we get a respawn beacon down, we hit a flank. It's all about supporting each other. It's all about playing as a team. You can't just go in by yourself and expect to do really well, especially in a lobby like this where there's a lot of good players. So it's all about just listening to each other, good communication, and hitting your shots, right?
Nice. All right, so you've changed my world because I've always just gone into that mode by myself and acted crazy and silly. So if you are like me, if you're a player who's watching and is like, hey man, honestly, all I really ever thought about was just loading into the game and running with the W key and having a bunch of fun shooting stuff. I want to move to this next level where I watch you guys play and I start to think, okay, strategy, deep dives. What would you say to a player who's making that transition? Like, what's the next step? Is it finding Discords to get squads? Is it sort of deep diving YouTube videos? What's the best way to sort of transition my game from fun W key to strategic play the way that I saw you guys do it?
Yeah, so the number one thing you can do is watch people that are really good at the game. We do it too. We know that we're not the best players in the world at like any game really, and so that's the easiest way to learn. You watch people that are better than you. You take what they do and you put it to practice. If you want to find other people to play with, man, add people in game, the better players. See if they'll play with you. Eventually, somebody will add you, right? There's tons of Discords out there where you can join up and find squads. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. If you put in the hours and you try to get better, you will get better. There's no easy way to do it. It's just about practice, and you'll see the results over time.
Nice.
So over the last 2 days, Tavis and I have both been able to be exposed to very different styles of game in this, where between operation and warfare, different players, different styles and approach to the game and everything else. For you as a person who's come into Delta Force, have you always had a focus on the specific play style of warfare? Do you prefer actually operations? Has there been what is the enticement for you coming into a game that is fresh off the block, that has a lot of dev support? Like, is there a certain thing that excites you, what you're looking forward to? What kind of gets the juices going for Bisco?
Yeah, so I've never played operations before. I've never played a game like that. It's not really my style. I feel like it's not too fast-paced. I prefer something more fast-paced. So I have a lot of experience in other games similar to the warfare mode, and I even played the beta and stuff before as well of Delta Force. So it's not like the first time I've played the game really. But yeah, I'm a big fan of fast-paced shooters. Like really when I'm playing the way I really want to play, I'm just like you said before, just W key running at everything, trying to get into the action. Obviously, when you're against players of this caliber, all the people that quality here for semis, you can't really do that. You have to take a step back and play a bit more strategically, play the angles, play the spots, and yeah, that's what we did.
And you did it so well. Now, I know in a second, Lawler's going to give a chance for you to maybe do shout-outs for friends, but you mentioned into my last question that you guys watch players that are better than you and that you learn from them. Can you name a player that you have enjoyed watching or you feel like you've learned from when it comes to Delta Force, or really any game that's a higher level of thinking?
Yeah, and I could speak on Delta Force. I mean, at the end of the day, Focus, I think we all know who Focus is. Yeah. He's insane. Yeah. We've learned a lot from him, spots, routes. We look to see what guns he uses because he knows what's good. He's played a lot of the game, so that's probably the #1 player that we've watched for Delta Force. Enders as well, I guess. But yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
What's up, man? Yeah, I think it's nice to have people down to, for anybody watching who's trying to get some of those tips and tricks as well. And obviously, you guys are here on this broadcast for a reason, so don't sell yourself too short. Yeah. Sure, it's nice to look up to the guys that are making the guides and everything else, but it is always good to have that fresh mindset. So with the fresh mindset, obviously, we want to give you the opportunity to shout out, obviously, your teammates, yourself, or anybody else. Make a advocation for yourself if you can, but the floor is yours, Bisco. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, shout out to my team. Obviously, Zeiss, Trev Stacks. Trev Stacks is streaming, twitch.tv/Trev Stacks. Go follow him. He's insane. He's Apex Pro as well. yeah, obviously shout out to my teammates, man. We all did this together. We worked hard, we practiced a lot, and I'm glad that we did well.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time. As always, a little bit of extended interview while we tally these points totals. But again, best of luck. I assume we're going to see you in the grand finals on Sunday, and we're looking forward to it, man. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Shout outs to Certified Fraggers and the entertainment they have provided for us, and being willing to go out of their way despite the busy schedule to come and hang out and talk and chat with us a little bit and provide that insight. So in the meantime, chat, we are literally just filling for time as we calculate all the totals and the numbers so we can give you guys the results. But it also gives us a little bit of a chance to reflect. Toffee's obviously very different from yesterday.
Yep,
and
very
I
much
think
so.
good in its own right with that regard. Big takeaways from you. The one thing I remember you saying is you're like, I am definitely going to approach when I play Warfare a little bit differently. But outside of that, kind of an overarching theme for the day, if you had to put a kind of a piece on it.
If I had to put a piece on it, I would say, like, this game, the same thing we heard from yesterday from our pros when we interviewed them, said just go out there and have fun. Just go out there and shoot stuff. Just go out there and cut loose and think strategically. And I think that's what the walkaway was. Is at the end of the day, he said, I love playing W. I want to go and I want to push. You can see those Certified Fragger highlights right there as they were the best squad in match 4. But at the end of the, as it is, especially in this mode, you have nothing to lose. So like, just go out there and I'm going to start trying stuff. I'm going to try to communicate with my team. And I love the idea of just send invites to people who are better than you. Eventually someone will say yes. And that's how you're going to improve, is like getting those squads. That's pretty cool.
I do think there's a lot to it where it's like watching people who are better than you is a good way to expose, but there's nothing better than real life experience and getting that opportunity, because it does seem like it tends to happen a lot more in the older communities where people are more welcoming. We all have that ability to self-reflect and see outside of ourselves and be like, I know what it was like when I was first starting, and I would have loved nothing better than to queue up with someone a little bit more knowledgeable or someone that's willing to be a little bit more assertive and, hey man, like these are things we need to be doing, this, that, the other, because it gives you such a massive leg up. So yeah, I mean, put yourself out there, man. I think that applies to all acts of life where, I am a huge person who will always tout, if you can't advocate for yourself, why should I? That mentality. So taking a look at some of these stats across the board, you're seeing some familiar names, but we saw that hip fire, and man, did you get a lot of assists off of it.
Right? Yeah, it was actually wild what he was doing with that hip fire, going to get those big numbers up there. I think my other big takeaway as we look at these numbers, which I thought was very interesting, is how much this mode can bring value to my operations mode, if that makes sense. Like, one of the struggles in operations is that you don't have a lot of time to work with all the attachments. You can't take fights constantly. This mode is the same gunplay, the same weapons, the same movement at a fast pace where I can try a different kind of strategy and master guns. By the same token, I think if you play Warzone, this idea that you go over there to operations and learn how to think tactically, learn how to move a little slower, learn how to hit those lean peak shots and the flicks that you need to, and learn what it's like to sort of stress about winning and losing, I think makes both modes stronger because you have access to the same gunplay in a different style. Overall standings.
Taking a look, we are going to see a little bit of balancing at the tail end, but our top teams remain supreme as we take a look. Our top 6 are going to move into the grand finals. Foreheads, Amigos, Echo Rain, Las Americas, Tier 1, and Beacon Only. Again, pretty even spread, that middle of the pack in your 2 to 5 range. Not that much different, but the Foreheads obviously getting the love from a lot of these competitors with Focus Enders and the boys. Showing exactly why.
Not a huge differentiation though. Beacon Only and Kill for Nothing very close to each other with that differential. So I think Kill for Nothing is gonna be pretty bummed out about that. Team XceL, CUBA, everybody all the way down there putting in a pretty good amount of work and contributing. But it does seem like Group B came away as the big winners. 4 of their teams going through, and 2 of them just barely missing the cutoff. So there's a world where if Tier 1 and Beacon Only had dropped the ball even once, we'd see a full B group moving into the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other side of that too, is it makes you think about how strong those competitors were.
Oh.
If everybody across the board is doing stuff, as we take a look at our other side of the board, that is a massive point difference talking about for Certified Fraggers.
Wow.
Obviously, they're talking about, hey, we look up to these guys, but man, when you saw some of those matches go the distance, the point operations that can come from it, we're seeing that in full effect as everybody. I think the lowest was like, what, 120K on 12th place. You're talking 80K over that? That's a lot.
they said they're not the best, and they watched people who are better. But certified fraggers look like they may actually have taken. And I think you brought that up earlier. You said the idea that you don't have to be the guy that makes the guide to be the best. Like, and sometimes to be the best, you need the guy who makes the guide. You know what I mean? Like, you shoot around corners. You don't think around them.
Yep. Hey, man, innovation is the #1 name of the game here. Is what can I take from the knowledge of those I'm surrounded by, and how can I improve upon it? So we're going to see a lot of that improvement and what it is going to look like in our grand final, which is in a couple days' time. We still have our grand final tomorrow for operations, which I know, Toffees, you're ready to take the reins back
I'm hyped, bro.
And really dive into the sweat fest that is operations. Early looks, early things to entice people. If you had to give them a note of like, hey, what to look forward to tomorrow, why they should tune back in, give me your statement piece.
So come back. Tomorrow's operations, totally different kind of play mode. Same guns, same attitude, but it is going to be high stakes. Every time that you die there, there's no respawns, there's no coming back. You simply have to watch, wait, and think about what you did wrong. And they only have 4 games to make it happen. So I think it's going to start really strong. Lots of chaos in the first game, and 2 maps that are going to be very, very difficult for our players, and gear that they're not used to wearing. So I'm excited. It is catching really good top-tier players in a position where they feel a little uncomfortable, and that's, I think, when you see the best things happen.
Oh, it's amazing. Seeing them squirm a little bit, we are all about, because it gets the best out of them. How can they adapt and overcome? It's absolutely fantastic. But if you are here primarily for Warfare and shooting some love to focus on the rest of those guys, make sure you guys tune in on Sunday as well. Our grand finals for that, our top 6 squads going to be coming in and competing. I expect it to be an absolute bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute blast. But on behalf of myself, Toffees, the Delta Force crew, and all of production behind the scenes, that is going to wrap it up for our second day of the Delta Force community tournaments. Warfare done and dusted. Semifinals all done, but we still have grand finals to go in our final 2 days. Don't forget Europe as well tomorrow morning. That is going to be kicking us off, and then Toffees and I will be back at night. But that said, we appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time for some more Delta Force. Have a good night.
Admit defeat, Wookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. Give it back.
How dare you look down on me! Give it to me!
Looks like it's my turn.